Chapter 444. More and more cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction rushed out. However, the entire entrance to the mountain protecting Grand Array had already turned into a blood mist. Not a single cultivator could break through Ning Cheng's axe line. Along with the blue-colored shadow of the Thunder City appearing above Ning Cheng's head, these crucible transformation cultivators found that not only were they unable to approach Ning Cheng, even if they wanted to break through the shadow of the Thunder City, it would not be easy. The 36 cosmic true devil axes in front of the entrance of the Red Star Sword faction's mountain protecting Grand Array, transformed into one after another axe line after another. These axe lines were incomparably powerful. If a cultivator with a poor cultivation were to come into contact with them, they would immediately die. As for crucible transformation cultivators or sea opening realm cultivators, once they approached Ning City, they would immediately feel a kind of spatial shackles. Under Ning Cheng's false domain, this was a completely unequal slaughter. When the 6th crucible transformation cultivator was pierced through by Ning Cheng's spear, some of the lower-leveled cultivators finally could not stand the horrifying Azura-style massacre, and immediately tried to rush out of the mountain protecting Grand Array to escape. Unfortunately, not a single person was able to escape, as all of them were killed by the dense axe lines. I withdraw from the Red Star Sword faction. If I violate this oath, then let the Thunder Tribulation annihilate me. Finally, a soul essence cultivator could not help but begin to swear. Immediately he discovered that he was the only cultivator who managed to escape from this dense axe line. As soon as he got out, he immediately used an escaping talisman, and soon disappeared without a trace. If he didn't even have his life, why would he care about the sect? With the first, there would be the second. More and more of the lower-leveled cultivators copied the words of the cultivator who had just escaped, and rushed out of the Red Star Sword faction one by one. From the time Ning Cheng arrived at the Red Star Sword faction, it had only been an hour, but the entrance to the mountain protecting Grand Array of the Red Star Sword faction was already filled with the corpses of cultivators. If not for Ning Cheng deliberately letting go of half of the disciples who had left the sect, more cultivators would have died here. The remaining crucible transformation cultivators felt their hearts tremble. They finally understood just how terrifying Ning Cheng was, and why he dared to come here alone to exterminate the Red Star Sword faction. What they were anxious about was why Forefather Scarlet Flame had not come out of seclusion yet. Catcha! Boom! Ning Cheng's Thunder City's shadow finally shattered, while his Nirvana spear also ended up sealed. A red-haired man with a murderous look on his face stood in front of Ning Cheng. He was the one who blocked Ning Cheng's Nirvana spear and also the one who shattered Ning Cheng's everlasting Blue Thunder City's shadow. With the arrival of Old Ancestor Scarlet Flame, the several crucible transformation cultivators felt their hearts loosen up. They knew that with the arrival of their old ancestor, even if Ning Cheng was more powerful, he would still have to leave his small life behind in the Red Star Sword faction. Sect Master Ning, my Red Star Sword faction had also come knocking on your Rainbow Fall Sword sect's door. This time, since you came knocking on our door, then we will have to acknowledge it. From now on, we don't owe each other anything. Let's call it a day. A huge fire beacon diagram floated above the red-haired man's head. Ning Cheng was simply disinclined to speak any nonsense. The 36 cosmic true devil axes immediately brought out an axe line wave, while the Nirvana spear also shot out. At this time, in addition to the red-haired man, there were also 3 other crucible transformation cultivators. If these 3 crucible transformation cultivators took the opportunity to escape, then Ning Cheng would also be helpless. However, he believed that if these 3 crucible transformation cultivators still cared about their face, then they would definitely besiege him at this moment. At the same time that Ning Cheng attacked, the red-haired man's flame beacon diagram immediately turned into a sea of flames, showing that he did not intend to let Ning Cheng leave this place. At the same time that the red-haired man attacked, the other 3 crucible transformation cultivators also simultaneously attacked Ning Cheng. The flame beacon diagram transformed into a world of flames, causing the surrounding space to give off chi-chi sounds as it burned. Even Ning Cheng's specious domain could not stop this terrifying burning, causing the surrounding space to no longer be under Ning Cheng's control. Although Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei were besieged, the reason why they still had the upper hand was not because of anything else, but because of Ning Cheng's specious domain. In this kind of space, Ning Cheng could completely crush the other party, regardless of how many people the other party had. Now that Ning Cheng's domain was being burned by the flame beacon diagram, Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei immediately fell into a disadvantageous position. The 36 cosmic true devil axes barely managed to block the true essence bombardment of the 4 crucible transformation cultivators. If not for Ji Luofei's help, Ning Cheng would have ended up suppressed. A trivial fake domain dares to boast about exterminating my Red Star Sword faction. The red-haired man's flame beacon diagram grew even more majestic, causing Ning Cheng's hair to turn red from the heat. Ji Luofei, on the other hand, could no longer hold on. What made Ning Cheng feel surprised was that at this moment, he was at an absolute disadvantage. The other 3 crucible transformation cultivators not only did not attack him, but instead withdrew their weapons, allowing the red-haired man to suppress him alone. Ning Cheng absolutely did not believe that the other party would be so kind-hearted. He did not hesitate to speak to Ji Luofei. Luofei, enter the miniature world. Ji Luofei knew that this was not the time to talk about reason. She believed in Ning Cheng. Even if Ning Cheng was not a match for the other party, Ning Cheng still had the twin wings of the heavenly clouds to escape. Ning Cheng had just let Ji Luofei enter the miniature world when the red-haired cultivator suddenly shouted out, "Red Star Blood Sacrifice." At this moment, the flame beacon diagram completely transformed into a red sky. Ning Cheng, wrapped in this red sky, could only barely struggle with the help of the 36 cosmic true devil axes. Even his Nirvana spear could not break through this flame beacon world. Red Star Blood Sacrifice. At the same time, the other 3 crucible transformation cultivators simultaneously called out the same 4 words. Ning Cheng suddenly had an illusion that the sky above him was the flame beacon diagram, while under his feet was a world of waves. Ning Cheng, at this moment, finally understood why the Red Star Sword faction was built on a silver river. At this moment, this silver river completely roared, causing endless silver waves to roll up, just like a landslide. Rumble. Rumble. The silver waves rolled up, causing the earth to roar. It was as if an ancient behemoth had awakened, giving off an anger that wanted to devour everything. The silver waves that erupted from this silver river completely locked down the space in which the 4 of them were fighting. There was simply no place to move. At this moment, Ning Cheng once again felt the same feeling as when he fought against Rong Jin, the feeling of being under the control of the opposite party's sword domain. It was exactly the same as his false domain. However, this kind of control over the space formed by the flame beacon diagram and the silver river beneath the Red Star Sword faction was far stronger than his false domain. The silver waves and the flame beacon diagram quickly closed up, causing Ning Cheng to feel the threat of death. The silver river beneath the Red Star Sword faction was the Red Star Sword faction's faction guarding treasure, just like the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword. However, the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword had not yet played its role, before it was stolen by someone. But this time, the Red Star Sword faction's Red Star Silver River had truly begun to show its might. He had underestimated all the sects under the heavens, each and every one of them was not a simple existence. No wonder the Red Star Sword faction dared to attack the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's grand array. It turned out that they knew that the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword was no longer around. Or rather, they knew that no one from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect could stimulate the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword. But why did the Grand Elder and Deputy Sect Master Tantai not remind him that the Red Star Sword faction possessed such a terrifying silver river when he came to the Red Star Sword faction? The only explanation was that they did not know about it. The flame beacon diagram had already appeared above Ning Cheng's head, while the silver waves of the silver river had already surrounded the flame beacon diagram. Destruction, death, and violence filled the world at this moment, causing Ning Cheng to be wrapped up in this world of destruction. He simply did not have any chance to escape. He could not even move, let alone bring out the Star River or even cast the Maximal Flame spiritual technique. Ka. The space in front of Ning Cheng trembled at this moment. What appeared in front of him was no longer the flame beacon and the silver river, but a gray invisible call. This call ignored all the surrounding space-time, ignored all magical weapons and all attacks. This kind of terrifying gray call made people unable to raise any thoughts of resistance. Ha, die for me. The red-haired man's wild laughter arrived. Ning Cheng was immediately awakened by this wild laughter. He felt as if he could see a gray claw in the space around him. This claw was trying to grab at his life essence. No, he absolutely could not let this go on. He could not die, he must not die. A strong will to live rose within him, causing the spear intent of the Nirvana spear in Ning Cheng's hands to crazily break through this shackle. This was a spear intent that could pierce through the sky. He had personally witnessed this spear intent kill a powerhouse that could destroy a planet. He had personally witnessed that this spear intent could destroy a planet. Why couldn't this spear intent break through the flame beacon and the red star silver river? This spear intent should be able to cut through any vault of the sky, cutting through any space. Ka! A small crack appeared on the spear head of the Nirvana spear, causing Ning Cheng's suffocating feeling to suddenly loosen up. He felt his life essence once again return to his body. However, at the same time, the surrounding aura of destruction completely raged. Ning Cheng did not hesitate. His Nirvana spear's spear intent had already allowed his life essence to return. The only thing he could do at this moment was to enter the mysterious yellow bead. Countless dangers, countless killing intents, and countless times of cultivation. Ning Cheng had never thought of entering the mysterious yellow bead, however, this time, he had no choice but to enter the mysterious yellow bead. He had no other choice. If he did not enter the mysterious yellow bead, he would end up being torn into pieces by this converging space. The might of the red star blood sacrifice was just too terrifying. He could not resist it, at least not yet. Whether it was the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, the Nirvana spear intent, or the endless axe lines or the everlasting blue thunder city, none of them could save his life at this moment. With this kind of terrifying space converging, even his miniature world would vanish into thin air, and Luofei would also fall just like him. Boom boom. A horrifying explosion sound rolled up, as the Milky Way below the Red Star Sword faction exploded into endless silver water droplets. These water droplets directly pierced through the surrounding air, causing incomparably explosive sounds to ring out. The flame beacon diagram looked just like an inverted world of flames, with countless volcanoes, rivers of fire, and thunder of fire. It seemed as if it wanted to turn everything in this space into dust. The fireballs and the silver waves finally swept up together, causing the space in this area to tumble and turn into nothingness at this moment. The blood-colored sky was dyed by the silver waves, forming a deathly gray color. Looking at this color, one would immediately feel the shadow of death looming over one's heart. In the face of this deathly gray color, the world would disappear, and life would turn into nothingness. The only thing that remained was the sound of destruction, as if to declare that no one could stop this destruction. Chapter 445. The red-haired man looked at the red star blood sacrifice in front of him and took in a deep breath before speaking. This person is too terrifying. If not for him not advancing to the crucible transformation realm before coming to my red star sword faction, my red star sword faction would have already been destroyed by this person. At this moment, he and the other three were pale, and their true essence was in chaos. There was a price to pay for using the Star River Sword Sect Star River Blood Sacrifice, which was the quintessential essence and blood essence. Unfortunately for him, I heard that he not only possesses the geocentric 9-een essence, but also the 9-colored mirage tree. A crucible transformation cultivator standing on the left side of the red-haired man also gave out a sigh. These two things, any one of them would cause the entire Yixing mainland to crazily compete for it. Hey! That's not right, there is a yellow bead in the middle. After the explosion gradually disappeared, the crucible transformation cultivator on the right saw the mysterious yellow bead. Origin aura. The red-haired man's expression changed. Before he could continue speaking, he and the other three felt the space around them suddenly collapse. Ning Cheng's shadow seemed to have once again appeared in front of him. Not good. The red-haired cultivator shouted. He took out a talisman and was about to flee. He had already consumed too much of his energy. If Ning Cheng decided to go all out against him, then he would definitely not be able to escape. He was screaming crazily in his heart. Under the Scarlet Star blood sacrifice, everything would be turned into dust. Why couldn't this pearl be turned into dust? What kind of bead was this? Furthermore, if he were to obtain that kind of origin chi, why would his cultivation progress by leaps and bounds? He didn't dare to continue thinking about it. He felt extreme danger, and his strength was greatly reduced. In the face of this danger, he actually felt powerless. What kind of magic skill was this? The red-haired man knew that this was not good, while the other 3 crucible transformation cultivators also knew that this was not good. However, Ning Cheng had already cast out his maximal flame spirit technique, causing the endless spatial collapse to once again transform into a mass of scorching flames. This flame no longer came from the red-haired man's flame beacon diagram but from Ning Cheng's maximal flame spiritual technique. Previously, the red-haired man's Scarlet Star blood sacrifice controlled everything around him. But this time, Ning Cheng's maximal flame spirit technique controlled the entire world. Every dog has its day. The river flows east for 30 years, and then west for 30 years. Ning Cheng had the mysterious yellow bead and was able to escape this calamity, but the red-haired man did not have any means to escape this calamity. The spatial explosion that had just calmed down, once again crazily exploded. This time, only 3 crucible transformation cultivators and 1 above crucible transformation cultivator were at the center of the explosion. Ning Cheng did not know that the red-haired man's group of 4, after casting the Scarlet Star blood sacrifice, were already an arrow at the end of its flight. He was afraid that once he came out, he would once again end up besieged by those terrifying spirit techniques. Moreover, he also found that the miniature world inside the mysterious yellow bead was extremely unstable, and there was even a possibility that it could be destroyed at any time. Combined with Zhang Wei's words, Ning Cheng guessed that it should have something to do with Luofei in the miniature world. Since the mysterious yellow bead's origin was not complete, he did not dare to continue staying in the mysterious yellow bead. Therefore, as soon as he came out, he used the maximal flame spiritual ability. This time, with the maximal flame spiritual technique, he didn't even bother to protect his opponent's ring. A moment ago, if not for the mysterious yellow bead, he and Ji Luofei would have already died. In this kind of situation, he simply did not have even half a shred of hope. Boom! A violent explosion sound rolled up a red wave. The Red Star Sword faction had suffered 2 consecutive explosions from the spiritual technique. Even if the people from the Red Star Sword faction were far away, they would still be able to hear it clearly. This time, the spatial explosion was much weaker than the Scarlet Star blood sacrifice. However, the remaining 4 people simply did not have any strength to escape. Under the maximal flame spiritual technique, they completely turned into nothingness. Ning Cheng slowly breathed out a sigh of relief as he stood above the ravine of nothingness created by the maximal flame spiritual technique and the Scarlet Star blood sacrifice. After casting the maximal flame spiritual technique, he knew that the other 4 people no longer had the strength to fight against him. However, he did not regret it. This lesson taught him that he should never think that he was infallible. In this world, there were still many forces that he did not understand. The Red Star Sword faction was finished. After Ning Cheng killed the last 10 crucible transformation cultivators, the Red Star Sword faction no longer had any cultivators. All the cultivators had either died or escaped. Under the effects of the Scarlet Star blood sacrifice and the maximal flame spiritual technique, countless rings turned into dust. Ning Cheng did not obtain many spoils of war. Ning Cheng was just about to call out Ji Luofei, and the 2 of them wanted to take a look at the Red Star Sword faction's spiritual medicine garden. However, he suddenly felt his body turn cold, as a sharp and terrifying killing intent invaded his consciousness. At the same time, the entire Red Star Sword faction below him started to shake. Ning Cheng immediately knew that it was not good. He quickly grabbed the flame beacon diagram that was not destroyed and rushed out of the Red Star Sword faction. Boom boom boom. An even more violent sound rolled up. Ning Cheng, who had already rushed out of the Red Star Sword faction, looked at the silver river below the Red Star Sword faction in shock. That silver river unexpectedly pulled out of the Red Star Sword faction, turning into a white light before disappearing into the endless sky. Even his spiritual consciousness could not capture it. Without the support of the silver river, the Red Star Sword faction once again gave out bursts of roars. A moment later, the luxurious and majestic Red Star Sword faction turned into ruins. Ning Cheng did not feel even half a shred of pride, rather, he felt a bit of worry. He had indeed destroyed the Red Star Sword faction, however, that silver river had disappeared for no apparent reason. Who knew if a powerhouse had taken it away or not? Moreover, the killing intent that he had felt a moment ago still lingered in his heart. When Ji Luofei came out and saw the ruins in front of her, she could not help but feel shocked. She was inside the miniature world and did not know what had happened. Luofei, let's go back. This time, we will get married in the sect. After we get married, you will follow me to heaven's way. Ning Cheng held Ji Luofei tightly to his side. He originally wanted to go to the Yin Yang Dao sect, however, after the battle with the Red Star Sword faction, he dispelled the idea. He was sure that with his current cultivation, going to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would only result in death. Moreover, he believed that if he destroyed the Red Star Sword faction, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would definitely change the answer they gave him. Previously, he had ordered the disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to kill the disciples of the Yin Yang Dao sect wandering outside the sect. This matter should have angered the Yin Yang Dao sect. Now that he destroyed the Red Star Sword faction, even if the Yin Yang Dao sect was ruthless, they would not dare to directly provoke them. Even if he wanted to attack the Yin Yang Dao sect, he could not go alone. At the very least, he would need the entire sect to go together. In fact, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect and the Yin Yang Dao sect did not have such a huge hatred between them. Destroying the Red Star Sword faction would also allow him to achieve his goal of establishing his prestige. Ning Cheng, did you say that we will get married when we go back? Great joy filled Ji Luofei's heart. She had long wanted to marry Ning Cheng. The two of them already had a marriage agreement, however, after experiencing so many things, she ended up falling behind Shi Qionghua. However, if Ning Cheng did not say it out loud, she would also feel embarrassed to say it out loud. I'm sorry, Luofei. This matter should not have dragged on until today. Ning Cheng could feel Luofei's excitement, however, he felt a little guilty in his heart. Previously, it was to find his little sister. Later, because of the huge changes in the sect, he simply did not have the time to marry Luofei. But now, after the battle with the Red Star Sword faction, he increasingly felt that his cultivation was insufficient. If this was the case in the Yixing mainland, then once he left this place, it would be even worse. Recalling the words that Sung Wei had spoken to him in the past, he wanted to wander the vast universe in the future. Without strength, if he could not even protect the people around him, then how could he even talk about wandering the universe? If he wanted to cultivate to become more powerful, then he would have to leave the Tian continent and enter heaven's way. How could Ji Luofei listen to Ning Cheng's apology? She raised her head and blocked Ning Cheng's words with her lips. No words could describe the longing she felt for the upcoming wedding. Yin Yang Dao sect. Even among the top 10 academies of the Tian continent, the Yin Yang Dao sect was ranked at the forefront, second only to the Thousand Zen Hall, the Battle Devil Hall, the Heavenly Dao Academy and the Severing Emotions Dao sect. At this time, in the Yin Yang Dao sect's assembly hall, several crucible transformation cultivators had gathered. Even the Yin Yang Dao sect's young sect master Hao Anye and a grand elder were present in the assembly hall. In the past, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, in order to deceive my Yin Yang Dao sect, used a fake perception pagoda to attract hatred for my Yin Yang Dao sect. This time, they even killed my Yin Yang Dao sect's disciples. This time, there is no need for the Red Star Sword faction to contact us. My Yin Yang Dao sect will take the initiative to make contact with the Red Star Sword faction. If we do not destroy the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, we will not rest. The Yin Yang Dao sect's young sect master Hao Anya spoke with a sharp murderous aura. No one refuted it. Attacking the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was an established strategy. Sending disciples to provoke the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, this was also something that had long been planned. Originally, the Yin Yang Dao sect's plan was to take the initiative to go to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect and say that 2 of their disciples had disappeared and were killed by people from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. They did not expect that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would actually cooperate with them. They did not even have the time to carry out this plan, when the Rainbow Fall Sword sect really killed 2 of the Yin Yang Dao sect's disciples. I heard that the sect master of the Empty Sky Sword sect, Ning Cheng, has returned. This person has always been bold, daring to go to the Severing Emotions Dao sect with his soul essence cultivation. A crucible transformation female cultivator spoke with some worry. Ji Xiao at the side gave a chuckle and spoke, even if Ning Cheng is more powerful, he is still just a single person. My Yin Yang Dao sect's crucible transformation cultivators could easily slap him to death. Because the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword has once again returned to the sect, I am worried about their yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword. The female cultivator explained. Hao Anya nodded and spoke, Ning Cheng has returned, but there is no news of Xiao Bisheng and Mu Ziming. I have already sent people to the Heavenly Dao Academy and the Heaven Alliance. If we can contact these 2 places, then even if the Rainbow Fall Sword sect has a few more yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Swords, we would not be afraid. At this moment, a soul essence cultivator hurriedly walked to the door. What's the matter? Hao Anya asked with a frown. In general, if there was no urgent matter, ordinary cultivators were not allowed to approach. However, this soul essence cultivator was different. He was the Yin Yang Dao sect's foreign affairs deacon. Although his cultivation was low, but his status was not low, as such all the external affairs were handled by him. Sect Master, Elders, I have just received news that Ning Cheng, along with his fiancée Ji Luofei, broke through the Red Star Sword faction's mountain-protecting Grand Array, and even killed 10 Crucible Transformation Elders, including the Red Star Sword faction's red-haired ancestor. The Red Star Sword faction has already disappeared from the Tian continent, Ning Cheng destroyed it. What? After this soul essence cultivator finished speaking, almost all the people in the discussion hall suddenly stood up. Chapter 446. The Yin Yang Dao sect's discourse hall turned deathly silent. After a long while, the Grand Elder of the Yin Yang Dao sect, who had not spoken until now, repeated the words in shock. Did you just say that Ning Cheng brought along his Dao companion, and the 2 of them destroyed the Red Star Sword faction? This soul essence deacon quickly bowed and said, reporting to Elder Shi, it is indeed like this. He had heard that Ji Luofei was only at the Crucible Transformation first level. However, the fact was that Ning Cheng was the only one who truly destroyed the Red Star Sword faction. Besides, everyone in the hall sucked in a mouthful of cold air. This hall was also filled with the top experts of the Yin Yang Dao sect. Not to mention about 1 person going to destroy the Red Star Sword faction. Even if all of them came together, they might not necessarily be able to destroy the Red Star Sword faction. How could Ning Cheng be so heaven-defying? Even if Ning Cheng's cultivation was above the Crucible Transformation realm, if he wanted to destroy the Red Star Sword faction, wouldn't it not be so simple? And what? Yin Yang Dao sect's young sect master Hao Anya asked in a deep voice. The killing intent that he had to kill the Rainbow Fall Sword sect a moment ago had disappeared at this moment. If the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Ning Cheng truly had such strength, then even if the Yin Yang Dao sect came out in full force, they would not be able to destroy the Yin Yang Dao sect. Instead, they might even end up destroyed by someone else. The Soul Essence Cultivator continued, the people who went to the Heavenly Dao Academy and the Heaven Alliance came back. How so? Howen asked anxiously. As a sect master, this was the first time he had been so anxious about something. If the Heavenly Tao Academy and the Heaven Alliance were willing to join forces with the Yin Yang Tao sect, then even if Ning Qing destroyed the Red Star Sword faction, it would not matter much to him. The Soul Essence Cultivator hesitated for a moment before speaking up. They not only refused to join hands with us, but also issued a warning that if my Yin Yang Tao sect dared to provoke the Rainbow Fall Sword faction for no reason, then they would definitely take action. Howland sat down dispiritedly. He couldn't believe it. The meaning behind these words was too obvious. This person did not want to deal with the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, but rather his Yin Yang Tao sect. For the people from the Heavenly Tao Academy and the Heaven Alliance to actually help the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, what the hell was going on? Although Zhuo Qiugao was the sect master of the Heavenly Tao school, he still had to show respect to the sect master, Xiao Bisheng. Tell me, why did you join forces with the Yin Yang Tao sect, the Red Star Sword faction and the other factions to besiege the Rainbow Fall Sword sect? Xiao Bisheng's tone was flat. His skeleton-like appearance had greatly improved, at least there was some flesh and blood. Zhuo Qiugao felt somewhat helpless. In the face of Xiao Bisheng, he could not hide his purpose, replying to Tao Master, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect suddenly gained a new treasure, the Perception Pagoda. The Perception Pagoda allows one to continuously advance to the Crucible Transformation realm. If our Heavenly Tao Academy does not compete for this kind of thing, then we would definitely be eliminated in the future. Oh. Why did you give up on the Enlightenment Pagoda after it was taken away by the Yin Yang Tao sect? Xiao Bisheng asked calmly. Zhuo Qiugao explained, after the Perception Pagoda was taken away by the Yin Yang Tao sect, I found that it did not have any effect on Crucible Transformation cultivators. At least for the past few years, the Yin Yang Tao sect has not gained a single Crucible Transformation cultivator. Later, I investigated the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Since the Rainbow Fall Sword sect took out the Perception Pagoda, no Crucible Transformation cultivators came out. Therefore, I felt that the Perception Pagoda might be a consumable. Xiao Bisheng sighed, you are the leader of the Heavenly Law School, and I have watched you grow up. You didn't consider the source of your actions. You were a bit reckless. If you continue like this, the sect will be in danger. In other words, if someone came to my sect to snatch the Heavenly Tao Bridge, what would you do? Of course, I would use the strength of the entire sect to block them. Even if the sect ended up destroyed, I would not let anyone snatch the Heavenly Tao Bridge. Zhuo Qiugao spoke without hesitation. Xiao Bisheng spoke with disdain, since the Heavenly Tao Bridge is so important, then the Perception Pagoda in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect should not be any less important than the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword. How can you know that others would not use the strength of the entire sect to block it? Zhuo Qiugao felt relieved. Tao Master, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword has already been lost. Not to mention the other major academies, even if my Heavenly Tao Academy went alone, we would be able to easily destroy the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Xiao Bisheng finally felt a bit angry. Zhuo Qiugao, it looks like you do not put anyone under the heavens in your eyes. Do you think that the Heavenly Tao Academy can sweep away everything? I will not say anything else, just the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's sect master Ning Qing alone can destroy most of the Heavenly Tao Academy. If you continue with this kind of mentality, then my Heavenly Tao Academy will be in danger. Pass it down, all the Crucible Transformation Elders of the Heavenly Tao Academy are to gather in the Assembly Hall. Tao Master, although that Ning Qing is comparable to a late-stage Crucible Transformation cultivator, he is still. Zhuo Qiugao's voice had not yet fallen when a red light fell into his hands. Zhuo Qiugao grabbed the red flying sword and swept it with his spiritual consciousness, causing his complexion to suddenly change. What's going on? Xiao Bisheng immediately asked. In any case, Zhuo Qiugao was still the Heavenly Tao Academy's sect master. Zhuo Qiugao felt a chill run down his spine. He grabbed the flying sword and spoke with a trembling voice. Ning Qing and his Tao companion went to the Red Star Sword faction alone not long ago, and killed all the cultivators above the sea opening realm of the Red Star Sword faction. Ning Qing completely destroyed the Red Star Sword faction. How is this possible, this? In Zhuo Qiugao's heart, How was this possible? Even if Ning Cheng was more powerful, how could he destroy the entire Red Star Sword faction? However, this flying messenger sword truly stated that it was Ning Cheng who destroyed the Red Star Sword faction. Xiao Bisheng sighed and spoke, "This is very normal. Not to mention the Red Star Sword faction, even if I joined forces with Mu Ziming, I'm afraid that we would not be his opponent. What's more, Mu Ziming and I were saved by him." After saying that, he seemed to be talking to himself, with a fake domain, in the Yixing mainland, who else could be his opponent? Even if it is Su Anjin, I estimate that she can only avoid the sharp edge. In the past few years, the Tian continent had been very peaceful. Although there had been some small fights, nothing major had happened. But recently, 3 major events had happened in the Heaven continent. The first matter was the return of the Heavenly Dao Academy's Dao Master Xiao Bisheng, the Heaven Alliance's Dao Master Mu Ziming and the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect Master Ning Cheng. The second matter was that after the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect Master Ning Cheng came back, he came to know that the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect had been repeatedly attacked by the Red Star Sword faction, to the point where even his good friend Sun Hanrui ended up dead. He, along with his lover, challenged the Red Star Sword faction, killing 10 Crucible Transformation cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction, before finally destroying the Red Star Sword faction. From then on, the Red Star Sword faction no longer existed in the Ho Tian continent. If the first matter was a topic that everyone was talking about, then the second matter was equivalent to an earthquake that broke out in the Tian continent. The destruction of small sects was a common occurrence in the Heaven continent, so no one was surprised. But what kind of place was the Red Star Sword faction? It was one of the top 10 academies, yet this kind of sect ended up destroyed. It was simply appalling. In the past, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect suffered a sneak attack, yet it was not destroyed in the end. But this time, the Red Star Sword faction ended up destroyed in an open and aboveboard manner. The name Rainbow Fall Sword sect suddenly resounded throughout the entire Tian continent, in every corner. Every topic was inseparable from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect Master Ning Cheng and his Dao companion Ji Luofei. Since it was inseparable from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect Master Ning Cheng and his Dao companion Ji Luofei, the matter of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect Master Ning Cheng and his Dao companion Ji Luofei also spread out at the fastest speed. If Ning Cheng had not destroyed the Red Star Sword faction in a thunderous manner, his marriage would not have caused such a sensation throughout the Tian continent. At this time, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, inside and outside, was filled with a variety of festive colors. Not only inside and outside the sect, but even inside the Rainbow Fall makeshift market, every shop was decorated with festive decorations. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain protecting grand array was fully activated, while rows of external affairs disciples lined up on both sides to welcome the guests. Since the establishment of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, this was the first time that such a grand event was held. All the guests who came to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, after arriving here, came to know that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was not only hosting the wedding of Ning Cheng's sect master. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect also had another important matter to attend to, that is, the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword that had been lost for decades had once again returned to the Rainbow Fall Sword peak. Originally, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect already had a very strong momentum, but with the return of the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword, its momentum became even more unparalleled. Countless guests and congratulatory guests headed towards the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, while some rogue cultivators also headed towards the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to watch the excitement. Because of the large number of cultivators gathered here, there was bound to be a large-scale exchange and auction. This kind of lively and extraordinary event was not common in the Tian continent. At the entrance of the mountain-protecting Grand Array, the external affairs disciples in charge of welcoming guests continuously reported the names of the guests who came to congratulate them. Profound Light Chamber of Commerce's President Yuan Qin came to congratulate. Great Change Island Sect Master Yi Xixiong came to congratulate. Floating Snow Palace's 7th Palace Master Seng Jiezhu came to congratulate. Heaven Alliance's Dao Master Mu Ziming came to congratulate. Heavenly Dao Academy's Dao Master Xiao Bisheng and Sect Masters Wu Qiugao came to congratulate. Yin Yang Dao Sect's Dao Master Xian and Sect Master Hao Anyan came to congratulate. Yu Ocean Palace's Palace Master Yu Haishi came to congratulate. Looking at the big shots walking into the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, the countless rogue cultivators who came to watch the excitement turned even more excited. Even during the great meet of the academies in the past, they had never seen so many big shots gathered together. Of the 10 major academies, apart from the destroyed Red Star Sword faction, it seems that only the Severing Emotions Dao sect has not come. The rest of the academies have all come, even the Battle Devil Hall has sent someone. Didn't they say that the Yin Yang Dao sect and the Rainbow Fall Sword sect have some kind of conflict? How come the Yin Yang Dao sect master came? What do you know? Sect Master Ning has a cultivation above Crucible Transformation Realm, yet he managed to defeat the Red Star Sword faction with his own strength. If I were the Sect Master of the Yin Yang Dao sect, I would have also come. Ning Cheng and the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Grand Elder Zhong Liping received Xiao Bisheng and Mu Ziming alone. Compared to when they had just come out from the Blue Hole, Mu Ziming and Xiao Bisheng looked a lot better. Brother Mu, did that Su Anjin really go to Heaven's Way? Ning Cheng's first sentence was to ask about Su Anjin's whereabouts. He learned from Zhong Liping that Su Anjin most likely went to Heaven's Way. Mu Ziming nodded and spoke, yes, Su Anjin definitely went to Heaven's Way. I suspect that she went there for Rui Baishan. It's just that Heaven's Way is getting more and more difficult to enter. Ning Cheng understood the meaning behind Mu Ziming's words. More and more people wanted to go to Heaven's Way, while the entrance to Heaven's Way required mirage stones to craft array flags. Mirage stones were just too precious. Chapter 447. The wedding of the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect Master Ning Cheng had attracted the attention of the entire Tian continent. Except for a very small number of academies, almost all the famous academies in the Tian continent had come to the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect to send gifts and congratulate the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. Yin Yang Dao Sect Master, Hao Anya, specially brought over the Perception Pagoda that he had originally wanted to go to. At the same time, he took the initiative to apologize to Ning Cheng. Tian Continent's foremost array formation Grand Master, Wu Mao, took the initiative to offer that as long as Ning Cheng was willing to take out the Mirage Stones, he would be willing to participate in arranging the array formations at the entrance to Heaven's Way. Because there were too many guests, and because there were still some other things to take care of, Ning Cheng decided to hold his wedding ceremony on the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone. Ji Luofei, who was already a peerless beauty, under the careful dressing, looked even more like the most beautiful white lotus. At this time, she had a happy expression on her face as Ning Cheng held her hand and walked over the clouds from the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. What made everyone unable to understand was that the bride, Ji Luofei, unexpectedly wore a white dress, not a bright red one. However, Ji Luofei's breathtaking beauty made all the people ignore her clothes. In other words, her clothes only served to accentuate her pure and gentle beauty. This kind of beauty caused all the other female cultivators present to pale in comparison. As long as a woman who could cultivate wasn't ridiculously ugly, her appearance wouldn't be too ugly as her cultivation level increased. Some of the female cultivators, who were already beautiful, became even more beautiful after cultivating. But when Ji Luofei came out, it immediately gave all the female cultivators a new standard for beauty. At this moment, countless female cultivators wished that they could have such a wedding. Dressed in a white wedding dress, she was led down from the clouds by her beloved Dao companion. Or, with such a wedding, can let the woman be the most beautiful. Ning Cheng took Ji Luofei's hand and stood in the air above the main seat of the public square. Facing the various congratulations, he cupped his fists and thanked them one by one. Ji Luofei's entire body was brimming with a joyful smile. She had finally waited for this day. Compared to elder sister Qianghua, she was much happier. Today is this Ning Cheng's big wedding day. I am very grateful to all the major academies for gracing my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. After Ning Cheng started speaking, the Rainbow Fall Sword Stone instantly quietened down. I thank my wife, Luofei, for marrying me. I will love her for the rest of my life, Ji Luofei did not expect that Ning Cheng would speak such words in public. She had never been to Earth, nor had she participated in a wedding on Earth. Even if she was thin-skinned, Ning Cheng's words still tore apart her little bit of modesty. She even forgot that they were still in the public square, as she snuggled against Ning Cheng's shoulder. I also want to hold a wedding like this in the future. A male cultivator enviously said. If someone could treat me like Sect Master Ning, I would definitely not cultivate. I would just love him alone. This time, it was a female cultivator with good looks who spoke up. Don't be a hypocrite. I'm sure that when you go back, you'll still do your closed-door training. What did that gigolo of the Guan clan do to you? Didn't you still kick it away? Besides, what does other people's love for you have to do with whether you cultivate or not? Another female cultivator beside the female cultivator immediately retorted. How can he compare with Sect Master Ning? After the voices in the public square quieted down a bit, Ning Cheng continued, Today, I will take this opportunity to announce a few other things. The first thing is that my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword has once again returned. Today, with the help of all the guests here as witnesses, my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword will finally return to the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. Finished speaking, a rainbow-like long sword appeared in Ning Cheng's hands. Countless spiritual consciousnesses fell on the long sword in Ning Cheng's hands, however, no one could clearly see the appearance of this sword. All they could see was a rainbow. Only Ning Cheng knew that this sword was definitely not an ordinary sword. Even his 36 cosmic true devil axes added up could not compare to a corner of this sword. Initially, after listening to Elder Zhongli Ping's words, he had spent a few days to study this sword. He had indeed obtained the Rainbow Fall 9 Revolutions from the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall sword. The Rainbow Fall 9 Revolutions was a top-notch cultivation method. Unfortunately, it was not suitable for Ning Cheng to cultivate. Ning Cheng passed on the Rainbow Fall 9 Revolutions to everyone at the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak, while also letting Tan Tai Fei pass it on to all the true inheriting disciples or the core disciples. The yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword once again returned to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, coupled with Ning Cheng's formidable strength. Everyone was clear that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had reached a new height. Under the gaze of countless eyes, Ning Cheng flew up, and landed on the summit of the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak with the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword. He had not yet sent out the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword in his hands, when the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword took the initiative to fly up, and inserted itself into the summit of the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. When the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword once again inserted itself into the summit of the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak, a sword halo radiated out in all directions, causing all the disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect to feel a sense of comfort at this moment. It was as if their comprehension of the cultivation method they cultivated had deepened by a level. As for the disciples and elders of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect with higher cultivation, this kind of feeling was even more profound. At this moment, they did not need anyone to tell them, they knew that the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword had returned. Ning Cheng looked at the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword with some doubts. He could not understand, how could this sword be stolen? He had a hunch, that even if it was him, he would not be able to casually pull out the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword. A powerful sword halo spread out, forcing Ning Cheng to withdraw from the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. With this question in mind, he once again landed beside Ji Luofei. Many thanks to all the guests, for witnessing the wedding between me and Ji Luofei, as well as witnessing the return of my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword. Ning Cheng's words immediately attracted a burst of enthusiastic cheers. They were witnessing a major event. Some of the lower-leveled cultivators were even thinking about how to exaggerate this matter. Dear guests, the third thing I want to talk about today is that because of the restrictions of the I Ching mainland's laws, we are unable to cultivate to a higher realm. However, we all know that such a realm exists. Many Dao friends, in order to pursue greater strength, have to leave the Tian continent, and enter another new world through the Heaven's Way. When Ning Cheng spoke about the Heaven's Way, all the people on the sword stone turned silent, turning silent in just a twinkling of an eye. This was a matter that concerned everyone. If one day they also managed to cultivate to the crucible transformation realm, if they did not enter the heaven's way, then perhaps they could only remain in the crucible transformation realm for the rest of their lives. There were simply too many crucible transformation cultivators that died of old age in the Tian continent. This was not a joke, but rather a fact. A crucible transformation cultivator only had a lifespan of a few thousand years. A few thousand years for a mortal was a very long time. But for a cultivator who was able to abstain from eating, a few secluded cultivation sessions would be equivalent to a few thousand years. Ning Qing continued, "The heaven's way is difficult, but no matter how difficult it is, we must enter the heaven's way in order to reach a higher realm. Moreover, entering the heaven's way is getting more and more difficult. The reason why my Rainbow Fall Sword sect had many quotas to enter was because Elder Meng Jingxiu of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect contributed a 9-colored mirage stone. The Tian continent does not only have the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, but there are many other academies. I and Dao Master Mu Ziming, as well as several other academies' heads and elders discussed it with each other. I decided to take out the mirage stones, and rearrange the entrance to the Tian continent's heaven's way, so that at any time, anyone, as long as they have the ability, would be able to enter the heaven's way. Even more enthusiastic cheers erupted. The matter that Ning Qing spoke about was something that all the cultivators were truly concerned about. All the academies were clear that once Ning Qing spoke these words, it represented that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect vaguely stood in the leading position of the Tian continent. If Ning Qing stayed in the Tian continent for a while, then the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would definitely be able to suppress the other major academies, and become the premier academy of the Tian continent. Ning Qing certainly did not speak these words casually, moreover he was not a person who did good deeds without leaving his name behind. Permanently opening the heaven's way, according to Mu Ziming and Xiao Bisheng, he would have to contribute his mirage stones. His mirage stones did not fall from the sky, moreover he did not have many 9-colored mirage stones. He considered it for a long time, before he finally made up his mind to take out his mirage stones. There were two reasons for this. One was that this move could really help a lot of people, and the second was that it could reduce the number of crucible transformation cultivators in the Tian continent, allowing it to balance the overall strength. The resources of the Tian continent were already scarce. If the number of crucible transformation cultivators kept increasing, then the competition for resources would become even more serious. There was also another point. If only the cultivators of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect could enter the heaven's way endlessly, then the strength of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would definitely decline. In this way, the strength of the other academies would also rise. Perhaps one day, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would end up following the footsteps of the Red Star Sword faction. Once he opened the heaven's way, then once one's cultivation reached the crucible transformation realm, they would be able to enter the heaven's way. At that time the strength of the major academies would also be balanced. Regardless of what Ning Qing was thinking, his words had already won the approval of everyone, causing the entire Rainbow Fall Sword stone to erupt with thunderous applause and endless cheers. All the guests and friends, please enter the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's welcoming hall to taste my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's wine. Ning Qing looked at the countless cheers. He knew that his goal had been achieved. Or rather, his goal and the goal of the other cultivators had been achieved. At this moment, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect turned into a sea of cheers. No matter how lively the scene was, it would eventually come to a stop. By the time the guests who came to congratulate them left one by one, Ning Qing and Ji Luofei had already returned to the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak's immortal cave. Ning Qing. After returning to the immortal cave, Ji Luofei no longer cared about being reserved and tightly hugged Ning Qing. She could not wait to rub her entire body into Ning Qing's. Still calling me Ning Qing? My husband. That's right. Oh. The restriction at the entrance has not been activated yet. So soft. My husband, you. After cultivating, Ning Qing rarely slept in like this. When he woke up, the sun was already shining brightly outside. Ji Luofei, who was stripped naked by Ning Qing, curled up in his arms, looking like a well-behaved kitten, rather than a crucible transformation expert. Ji Luofei opened her eyes, her face still had a hint of redness. She was just about to speak, when she saw Ning Qing frown. "What's wrong?" Ji Luofei quickly asked. "A person that I don't want to see came to the Rainbow Falls Sword Peak. I don't know why she came here." Ning Qing smiled. "Who is it?" "Naylan Rushua, also from the Lu continent." Chapter 448. Sect Master Ning. Seeing Ning Qing come in, Naylan Rushua, who was sitting quietly in the reception room, stood up. Lian Yi, who was accompanying Ning Qing, immediately left the reception room when she saw Ning Qing come in. She had heard about Ning Qing and Naylan Rushua's matters from Meng Jingxiu. Speaking of which, this was Naylan Rushua's second visit to the Rainbow Falls Sword sect. The first time was when she came to visit Meng Jingxiu. "Why are you looking for me?" Ning Qing gestured for Naylan Rushua to sit down before speaking. If it was Yan Ji, then perhaps he would have been pleasantly surprised. Even if it was not Yan Ji, but rather Qing Yixiao, he would still be happier than seeing this woman. Naylan Rushua's arrival did not surprise him at all. In terms of appearance, Naylan Rushua was no worse than Yan Ji, and even Rainbow Falls Sword Sect's premier beauty, Luo Xian. However, Naylan Rushua's character was too bad, and Ning Qing hated this kind of woman. However, Naylan Rushua's qualifications were truly amazing. Although she had not been in the Tian continent for a long time, she had already reached the 5th level of Sea Opening Realm. In terms of cultivation, she was even a bit higher than him. "I joined the Battle Devil Hall. After coming out of seclusion, I learned that you were getting married, so I came to congratulate you." Naylan Rushua seemed to know that Ning Qing did not have a good impression of her and spoke with a careful tone. Regarding Naylan Rushua's congratulations, Ning Qing did not take it to heart. Even if Naylan Rushua congratulated him, he and Naylan Rushua would never become friends. What surprised him was that Naylan Rushua actually joined the Battle Devil Hall. The Battle Devil Hall was ranked second among the top 10 sects of the Tian continent, second only to the Thousand Zen Monastery and even more powerful than the Heavenly Tao Academy. The Battle Devil Hall was a devil cultivator sect. Although the Tian continent did not care about devil cultivators and Tao cultivators, in the Lu continent, devil cultivators were hated by everyone. Initially, because he used a cosmic true devil axe, which overflowed with devil chi, he became a wanted criminal. Naylan Rushua came from the Lu continent, so it stood to reason that she should hate devil cultivators. How could she join a devil cultivator sect? The Lu continent's thoughtless academy was most disgusted with devil cultivators. Now that the premier disciple of the thoughtless academy had joined the Battle Devil Hall, it truly was an irony. "Ha, I really didn't expect you to actually join the Battle Demon Hall. Congratulations, congratulations." Thinking back to the time when the Woon Yen Academy had put him on the wanted list, Ning Qing originally wanted to say a few sarcastic words, but thinking that the other party had come to congratulate him on his wedding, he finally swallowed the words that were on the tip of his tongue. Even if he did, he wouldn't grow any flesh. Naylan Rushua lowered her head. Except for herself, no one knew why she joined the Battle Devil Hall. With her qualifications, she could have joined any sect in the Heaven continent. However, she had chosen to join the Battle Demon Hall. "This is a gift for you and big sister Luofei." Naylan Rushua handed Ning Qing a jade box. Ning Qing took the jade box, but did not open it, and just said a word of thanks. Seeing Ning Qing take the jade box, Naylan Rushua sighed. She stood up again and gave Ning Qing a deep bow. "Sect Master Ning, in addition to congratulating you on your wedding, I also came here to apologize to you and thank you for saving my life. If it weren't for you, I'm afraid that Sikong Kai would have already swallowed me whole. I was ignorant before, not only did I not thank you, but I even doubted you." For Naylan Rushua, this was the first time she had ever apologized to someone. If replaced with her from back then, even if she did something wrong, she would at most feel guilty and feel a little guilty. However, she would never apologize to others. Perhaps it was due to the influence of Meng Jingxiu's words. Back then, her qualifications were much higher than Meng Jingxiu's. even when Ning Cheng asked Meng Jingxiu to join the Wu Nian Academy, she rejected him. When she met Meng Jingxiu again in the Tian continent, Meng Jingxiu was already a late-stage crucible transformation cultivator, while she was still at the early stage of sea-opening realm. Just like how she looked down on Ning Cheng, she also disdained Ning Cheng from joining the Wu Nian Academy. Now, Ning Cheng was the sect master of one of the top 10 sects in the Tian continent. Even the hall master of the Battle Devil Hall personally came to congratulate Ning Cheng on his wedding. Ning Cheng, who was out of her reach in the past, was now an unreachable existence to her. Sometimes, what the eyes saw was not necessarily true. Meng Jingxiu and Ning Cheng, who used to be far inferior to her, now far surpassed her. This made her understand the truth, that is, at any time, one should never look at oneself as something great. When you look at yourself as something great, or even after countless years, in the eyes of the people you once looked down on, you would still be as insignificant as before. She remembered the last time she came to see Meng Jingxiu, and the words that Meng Jingxiu spoke to her, Nalan Rushue, the truth is that in my eyes, you are just a person with a golden key in his mouth, someone who helped you pave the way for you to walk. I am not ridiculing you, because it is the truth. A person who is not grateful, even if you have a golden key, your achievements would still be limited. Initially, in order to save you, Ning Cheng took me to sneak into the immortal cave of a profound congealing cultivator. I saw with my own eyes how terrifying that profound congealing nefarious cultivator was. When he first saw you, he wanted to tear off your clothes. As for what he wanted to do, I believe that you will understand. At that time, Ning Cheng was only at the early stages of essence-building realm. Moreover, under that grave, there was not even a single profound congealing cultivator. In addition to Sikong Kai, there was also another Hang Jiaojiao. It can be said that Ning Cheng used his life to save you, but how did you repay Ning Cheng? I do not want to say that I am ungrateful, but this is indeed the case. To be honest, I have never seen a person like Ning Cheng, he really has a kind heart. This is also the reason why I am willing to become his best friend, and also the reason why I am willing to come to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Although Nalan Rushue knew that what Meng Jingxiu said was not the whole truth, at least she was not the kind of cultivator with a golden key in her mouth, and would only hide in someone's house to cultivate. She did not refute Meng Jingxiu's words, she truly felt sorry for Ning Cheng, but unfortunately, the words in her heart could not be spoken to anyone. When she left the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, she at least understood a truth. That is, the academy or her master was not necessarily right, there were some things that she needed to judge on her own. When she came out of the law's way, she knew that Ning Cheng had saved her, but under the teachings of her master, she could not be like Yan Ji. Yan Ji was much more independent than her. After she identified Ning Cheng, no matter who or what, even if it was her academy or her family, could not affect her in the slightest. Yuing had once told her that Ning Cheng told her that sometimes what she saw with her own eyes was not necessarily the truth. Yuing had long understood this truth, but she, Nalan Rushue, only understood it today. Towards Nalan Rushue's apology and gratitude, Ning Cheng was not moved at all. Just imagine, if he had been killed by Nalan Rushue's Taoist priestess master, after all these years, would Nalan Rushue still remember who Ning Cheng was? Or perhaps she would have long forgotten about him. Initially, Nalan Rushue not only suspected him, but also used him. However, Ning Cheng did not want to care about these trivial things. I have long forgotten about those things. Ning Cheng spoke in a flat tone. Not caring about Ning Cheng's tone, after Nalan Rushue finished speaking, she seemed to have relaxed a bit. Saying that she and Ning Cheng had already done the deed between husband and wife, this kind of words was spread out by her master, but she did not deliberately stop it. This kind of thing only she understood, she was not using Ning Cheng, she also did not need to explain it to Ning Cheng. After Yuing and Yu Yuanhua came to know that the Wu Nian Academy had issued a warrant for you, they were very dissatisfied with me and the Wu Nian Academy, and also left the academy. As for where they are now, I do not know. Nalan Rushue continued. Ning Cheng then remembered this pair of talented siblings, as well as he suddenly felt a bit guilty in his heart. When he was in the Lu continent, he unexpectedly did not think of looking for the three of them. After saying these words, I feel a lot better in my heart, I'm leaving. Nalan Rushue did not continue to stay, as she quickly turned around and left. Ning Qing also did not call out to Nalan Rushue, he estimated that the two of them would not have many opportunities to meet in the future. Opening the jade box, he found an escape talisman inside. It was the same escape talisman that he had used when he was forced by Nalan Rushue's master to escape. Closing the jade box again, Ning Qing sat quietly for a long time. It was not until Ji Luofei came in that he stood up and spoke, Luofei, I'm going to hand over the position of Sect Master to Sect Master Tan Tai. We are going to Heaven's Way, the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect cannot do without a Sect Master. Regarding Ning Qing passing the position of Sect Master to himself, Tan Tai Fei, after discussing it with the two Grand Elders, did not refuse. After several people discussed it, they decided that after Ning Qing entered Heaven's Way, the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect would once again hold a Sect Master inauguration ceremony. From the time Ning Qing obtained the spiritual vein to the time he returned to the sect, he had not cultivated for even a single day. After handing over the position of Sect Master to Tan Tai Fei, Ning Qing and Ji Luofei immediately went into seclusion. Whether Heaven's Way was dangerous or not, no one knew. However, everyone was clear about one thing, that is, among the many people who entered Heaven's Way, at least not a single one of them could come back. Ning Qing took out the spiritual vein from the miniature world and placed it under his immortal cave. The miniature world did not have any laws to speak of, so if one wanted to have more formidable strength, then going into seclusion at the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak would definitely be much more formidable than going into seclusion in the miniature world. Ji Luofei did not use the spiritual vein to cultivate with Ning Qing, she only needed spirit stones. Ning Qing had a total of several billion spirit stones on him, so Ji Luofei's cultivation did not feel any pressure at all. 3 months later, Ning Qing advanced to the 5th level of the Sea Opening Realm. 7 months later, Ning Qing broke through to the 6th level of the Sea Opening Realm. A year later, when Ning Qing completely consumed his spiritual veins, he barely advanced to the 7th level of the Sea Opening Realm. Ning Qing could clearly feel that even if he used the spiritual vein for cultivation, his cultivation speed was getting slower and slower. Tan Yun, with just a little bit of the spiritual vein, was able to cultivate to the Crucible Transformation Realm. As for the extra spiritual vein, she even gave it to Ning Ruolin and the others for cultivation. However, even though he had used twice the amount of spiritual vein compared to Tan Yun, he could only cultivate to the 7th level of Sea Opening Realm, which was only 3 small levels of advancement. Although he still had a small lump of essence of wood, Ning Qing was not willing to use it. In any case, Ning Qing knew that there was no longer any meaning for him to continue staying in the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. On this day, after Ning Qing refined the flame beacon diagram that he obtained from the Red Star Sword faction, he called out Luofei and bid farewell to the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's Tan Tai Fei, Zhong Liping and the other Crucible Transformation cultivators, as well as the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak's Nan Yuefang, Lian Yi, Yang Honghua and the others. Chapter 449. The name Heaven's Road not only represented the path to pursue the heavenly Tao, but it was also a path worthy of its name. In fact, the Heaven's Road was really in the sky. It was Ning Cheng's first time entering Heaven's Way. He had followed Mu Ziming, Xiao Bisheng and Wu Mao. Everyone's flight-type magical weapons continued to fly upwards. When Ning Qing almost thought that they were close to the chaotic star space, the flight-type magical weapons finally stopped. At the entrance of Heaven's Road, there was a mountain called Heaven's Road Mountain. This was the only mountain peak within the Tian continent that was suspended in the air. Moreover, there were several Crucible Transformation cultivators residing on this mountain peak. The Crucible Transformation cultivators in this place were basically from the Heaven Alliance, and were mainly here to look after the Heaven's Way. Hundreds of feet in front of this floating mountain peak, there was an extremely faint ripple-shaped image. This was not a strip-shaped ripple. Instead, it was shaped like a mosquito coil, spreading from the inside out. When Ning Qing saw the spatial ripples, he knew that this place must be the entrance to Heaven's Way. Sure enough, Mu Ziming pointed at the ripples and spoke, "This is the entrance, however, it is currently impossible to open it. If you want to enter, you will need a lot of spirit stones and array flags. This kind of array flag, it is best to use mirage stones to refine it." Ning Cheng, as an array formation Grand Master, did not need Mu Ziming's explanation and immediately understood what was going on. He immediately spoke up, "The arrangement of this array formation is not appropriate. I suggest that we arrange an array formation once and for all, allowing anyone to enter." Ning Cheng had already mentioned this before, and had even discussed this matter with Wu Mao in detail. Wu Mao and Ning Cheng had some differences over the spiritual veins, but because Heaven's Way was facing the entire Yixing mainland. As the number 1 array formation grandmaster in the Tian continent, Wu Mao had no reason to refuse the invitation of the 2 Dao masters. "I've already told Brother Mu about this idea. It's to set up a tearing formation. Only when one had a certain level of strength could they use their own strength to tear apart the ripple space and enter the Heaven's Road. Otherwise, they would not be able to enter. We can't use the power of the array formation to completely open the entrance to Heaven's Road. That way, not only does it consume materials, it's also meaningless," Xiao Bisheng said. "I agree with Brother Xiao. That's what I'm thinking too. The array formation can only help. By weakening the power of this space, the cultivator could then use his own strength to tear open this spatial passageway. This way, they could enter the Heaven's Road at any time, and it also ensured that those who were not strong enough would not be able to enter the Heaven's Road. Of course, the mirage stones for arranging the array formations, I will take them out." Ning Qing immediately agreed with Xiao Bisheng's idea. In fact, this was also his idea. Although he had a pile of mirage stones, he still had a few more 9-colored mirage stones. In addition to the 9-colored mirage stones, he also had other mirage stones. Ning Cheng was originally a Tier 8 array formation Grand Master, plus Wu Mao, a Tier 9 array formation Grand Master, along with the help of several cultivators whose cultivation surpassed the Crucible Transformation realm. The tearing array formation at the entrance of the Heaven's Road only took 3 days to complete. This array formation provided spiritual energy through the Spirit Gathering Array. When it was not in use, the spiritual energy from the Spirit Gathering Array would basically ensure that the array formation would not be consumed. If someone wanted to enter the Heaven's Way, they would have to come up with a certain amount of spirit stones. These spirit stones could be used as cultivation resources for the cultivators guarding the entrance to the Heaven's Way, as well as to replenish the consumption of the array formation. After the tearing array at the entrance of Heaven's Road was completed, the ring-shaped ripple at the entrance became clearer, but it was impossible to use the array to tear it apart. If anyone wanted to enter the entrance to the Heaven's Road, they would have to use their own strength to tear apart the entrance. Ladies and gentlemen, the arrangement of the entrance to the Heaven's Road has been completed. This Ning will now take his leave. In the future, if fate wills it, we will meet again in the vast starry skies. With the array formation at the entrance to the Heaven's Road completed, Ning Qing did not want to stay here any longer. Whether it was for his own strength, or to meet his younger sister as soon as possible, he also wanted to enter the Heaven's Road as soon as possible. Even if he wanted to find Shi Qianghua, he would need to have the ability to tear through the void. Being trapped in the Yixing mainland, it was absolutely impossible for him to have the ability to tear through the void. Take care, we will be back soon. Mu Ziming and the others said their goodbyes to Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei. Although they had recuperated for a year, Mu Ziming and Xiao Bisheng still had not fully recovered. If they wanted to enter the Heaven's Way, then they would have to wait until they fully recovered before they could enter. Let's go. Ning Cheng pulled Ji Luofei and raised his hand to grab the ripple-shaped entrance to the Heaven's Way. Under Ning Cheng's formidable true essence tearing, the entrance instantly tore open a gap. Ning Cheng brought Ji Luofei into this gap, and the gap soon disappeared. After Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei entered the Heaven's Way, when they turned around, the entrance to the Heaven's Way had already disappeared. A violent squeezing force erupted, causing Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei to almost suffocate. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to remind Ji Luofei, a dense wave of spatial blade lights flew over. Ning Cheng brought out the 12 cosmic true devil axes to completely seal off their surroundings, causing the spatial blade lights to shatter under the bombardment of the axe shadows. However, these spatial blade lights were not artificially brought out. In just a few breaths, one after another spatial blade lights shot over. Ning Cheng was a little worried about whether Rulin could block these spatial blade lights. Moreover, in addition to the spatial blade lights, the spatial squeezing also had to be resisted through one's own true essence. Otherwise, even the storage ring would end up getting crushed. Husband, you don't have to worry about it. Rulin's cultivation is higher than mine. She will be fine. She came here with so many people from the same sect. Even if there is any danger, there would be someone to help her. Ji Luofei and Ning Cheng had a telepathic connection. As such, she was able to quickly perceive Ning Cheng's thoughts. Ning Cheng on hearing Ji Luofei's words finally felt relieved. After coming in, he had not gone to help Ji Luofei. Ji Luofei dealt with the spatial squeezing and the endless spatial blade lights with ease. From this, it could be seen that she had been constantly tempering herself over the years. It was not until this moment that Ning Cheng finally had the time to observe the Heaven's Ways passageway in front of him. He could not see the end of the Heaven's Ways passageway. Moreover, his spiritual consciousness could not sweep out too far. There was only a dark, squeezing passage filled with all kinds of spatial wind edges. Moreover, there seemed to be some small spatial cracks on the side of this passageway. Luofei, come closer to me. Let's not be too far apart. Also, pay attention to those small spatial cracks. Do not approach them. Along the way, there were more and more spatial wind edges. However, with Ning Cheng's strength, the two of them did not feel much of a threat. After a day passed by, Ning Cheng finally felt a little relieved. If the Heaven's Ways passageways were like this, then it would not be a problem for him to walk for a month or two. Spatial collapse. Ji Luofei's horrified voice arrived. Ning Cheng did not have much time to think about it. He directly grabbed Ji Luofei and stimulated the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. He had also felt the spatial collapse a moment ago. However, he did not expect that there would be a spatial collapse in this Heaven's Way. Once one fell into this spatial collapse, who knew if they would die or live? The twin wings of the heavenly clouds were extremely fast. In just a twinkling of an eye, they managed to escape from the location of the spatial collapse. However, the spatial wind edges had also left several scratches on his twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Although they managed to escape, Ji Luofei still held on to Ning Cheng's hand. That spatial collapse a moment ago, if not for Ning Cheng, she might not have been able to escape. Ning Cheng felt a little worried in his heart. If Rulin encountered this kind of spatial collapse, then what would she do? Not to mention Ning Cheng, even Ji Luofei felt a little worried. Ji Luofei believed that Ning Rulin would be able to block the spatial compression and the spatial wind edges. However, this kind of spatial collapse was just too dangerous. After experiencing a spatial collapse, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness turned even more cautious. His spiritual consciousness had been tempered in the heavenly astral space. Therefore, in this place, he could sweep further than the average person. Therefore, he could feel spatial collapses one step ahead of time, or even more dangerous things. Ji Luofei's spiritual consciousness also started to become more cautious. Her spiritual consciousness had also been tempered in the heavenly astral space. Although it could not reach as far as Ning Cheng, it was not a problem for her to predict some spatial collapses. After the two carefully walked for a few days, they once again encountered several spatial collapses. However, the two of them managed to avoid them by relying on their ability to predict them. Husband, Rulin has also tempered her spiritual consciousness in the heavenly astral space. I believe that she would be able to predict it. You don't have to worry too much. This time, Ji Luofei's comforting words did not make Ning Cheng feel relieved. When they first went to the Tian continent from the Lu continent, although Rulin had also tempered her spiritual consciousness in the heavenly astral space, her cultivation at that time was too low. As such, she did not dare to release her spiritual consciousness at all. On the 9th day, the two of them suddenly felt an empty space around them. The spatial wind edges had also disappeared. Then, a powerful impact force suddenly blasted over, seemingly wanting to blow the two of them away from this position. Ning Qing did not have time to think about it and directly hugged Ji Luofei. After protecting his whole body, they were swept away by this force. However, this force did not last for long. After just a few breaths, the two of them found themselves standing on top of a boulder. Ning Qing estimated that this boulder was at least a few dozen miles in size. Judging from the surrounding spiritual qi and the gentle space, Ning Qing understood that they should have come out of heaven's way. There were some buildings on top of the boulder, as well as several shops. Moreover, the silhouettes of several cultivators could be seen faintly. This boulder was also suspended in the void. On the edge of this boulder, there were also several huge ships. We came out. This boulder is not inside heaven's way. This is not the Yixing mainland. It is a place that we have never been to before. Ning Qing loosened his grip on Ji Luofei's hand and spoke. Ji Luofei was just about to speak when 3 male cultivators came out of the row of buildings. Among the 3, the one with the highest cultivation was the man in colorful robes, who was already at Crucible Transformation 7th level. The other 2 had a stout stature and a short stature, with a cultivation at Crucible Transformation 5th level. The last one had a dark complexion, with a cultivation at Crucible Transformation 6th level. Swish swish. A few sounds of breaking through the air resounded, as several figures landed on top of the boulder. This time, it was 3 men and a woman. These 4 people were all Crucible Transformation cultivators, with the one with the highest cultivation being at Crucible Transformation 4th level. Hee, there are a lot of people trying to break through heaven's way today. In just a blink of an eye, 6 of them have already arrived. The one who spoke was the stout, short cultivator. Ning Cheng's mind raced. From the words of this short cultivator, he could vaguely guess that heaven's way was not only limited to the Yixing mainland. Cultivators from other places could also come here through heaven's way. As for the 3 men and 1 woman, they should have come from other continents. Hey, there's even a sea-opening realm ant. The one who spoke was the stout, short male cultivator. Chapter 450. This woman. The stout and short male cultivator's words suddenly stopped when he saw Ji Luofei. It wasn't like he hadn't seen beautiful women in this place. He had occasionally seen someone as beautiful as Ji Luofei. However, as beautiful as Ji Luofei, she only came here with a sea-opening realm cultivator. This was the first time he had seen such a person. After saying that, he swallowed his saliva and continued, I want it. The 2 people who followed him did not feel anything strange about it. In their opinion, no matter who Ji Luofei was, she only followed a sea-opening realm cultivator to this place. If this woman had followed a late-stage Crucible Transformation cultivator to this place, then there would have been some leeway. This one is not bad either. The one who spoke this time was the dark-faced Crucible Transformation 6th level cultivator standing beside the stout and short male cultivator. He was referring to the female cultivator among the other 3 men and 1 woman. They collected all kinds of fees here all year round, and their days were dull and monotonous. It wasn't strange for him to get a few female cultivators to have some fun. Of course, there were rules here as well. That was, one had to be sure of the other party's strength. It was best not to reveal the matter, let alone make a big deal out of it. A sea-opening realm cultivator and a Crucible Transformation 2nd level female cultivator, even if they wanted to make a big fuss out of it, it would be impossible for them to make such a big deal out of it. The 6 of you, come here. The colorful-robed cultivator with the highest cultivation beckoned to Ning Cheng, the other 3 men and 1 woman. When Ning Cheng heard the words "I want this woman" spoken by that short cultivator, he immediately felt a surge of killing intent in his heart. His divine sense was powerful and his true essence was deep. Even though he was quite a distance away from the other party, he could still hear them clearly. It was just that he wasn't clear about the situation here, so he was forcefully suppressing the killing intent in his heart. I believe that this is your first time coming to the Receiving Heaven's Stone. Let me give you a brief introduction. I am Gary from the Extinguishing Karma Starry Sky Fleet. After this cultivator in colorful robes finished, he pointed to the dark-skinned Crucible Transformation 6th level cultivator beside him and spoke, "This is Bien Shao from Black City's Pill Union. This is Cecil from the Auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce." Ning Cheng then came to know that this short and stout cultivator who had been staring at Luofei was called Cecil and was from the Auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce. Ning Cheng was a bit puzzled. Listening to Gary's introduction, these three people did not come from the same place. "Friend Gary, we've just arrived at the Receiving Heaven's Rock. May I know where the nearest continent is?" The one who asked the question was the fair-skinned male cultivator among the other 3 men and 1 woman. They should have come here from another place, just like Ning Cheng. Gary waved his hand. "You don't have to rush. I'll tell you the specifics of the situation. There was no land here, only an endless void. Wanting to pass through the void and find the starry sky continent in the vast universe was not an easy task. Even if you used a top-quality true artifact to fly for countless years, you might not necessarily be able to find a continent that you could survive on. But we are here to help you. Please give me some pointers, Brother Gary." The fair-skinned male cultivator spoke in a very polite tone. Gary nodded. "It's not easy to survive in the vast void and the endless universe. However, we can send you to a place called the Rootless Black City. Almost all the cultivators who entered Heaven's Way and came to this place chose to stay in the Rootless Black City. Only after reaching the Rootless Black City and raising your strength to a formidable level, then with the help of our Chamber of Commerce or the fleet, would you have the opportunity to enter the Starry Sky continent." Ning Cheng noticed the meaning behind Gary's words. That is, whether it was going to the Rootless Black City or searching for a continent in the vast starry sky, it was not something that they could achieve with their own strength. However, as long as they paid the price, their forces could help them achieve it. "Then, Brother Gary, for cultivators like us who have just arrived here, what do we need to do?" The fair-skinned male cultivator continued. Gary nodded, "Good question. You can take our airship and enter the Rootless Black City. Then you can cultivate in the Rootless Black City and go to the void to search for Black Essence Stones. Only then would you have the opportunity to enter the starry sky. Remember, you must do so with our help. If you enter the void without permission and want to enter the Rootless Black City with your own strength, then I'm sorry to tell you that you're a dead man. Would you kill us if we don't take your airship?" The other female cultivator asked in a somewhat uncomfortable tone. Ning Cheng also noticed that the female cultivator who spoke had an extraordinary appearance. She had a fair complexion and a face like cream. She wore an emerald green muslin cultivator's robe that highlighted her graceful figure. From this, one could tell that she was a person who knew how to dress up. She originally had 7 points of beauty, but with this outfit, it immediately raised her to a whole new level. Gary laughed. "Our Extinguishing Karma Starry Sky Fleet is a famous starry sky fleet. How could we possibly do such a thing? Not to mention our fleet, even the fleet of the Jiaxing Chamber of Commerce and the fleet of the Black City Pill Association would never do such a thing. If you don't want to take our fleet, then please leave. As long as you leave the Receiving Heaven's Stone, I'm sure that even if you are in the Plundering Life realm, you would still end up in a dead end. The outside of the Receiving Heaven's Stone is much more dangerous than the Heaven's Way you passed through. Not to mention about the spatial wind edges everywhere, even a small meteorite would be enough to turn your corporeal body into dust. In addition to that, once you encounter a spatial dislocation, you would only end up dead. Let me remind you, it's easy to leave the Receiving Heaven's Stone, but if you want to come back, then don't even think about it." The female cultivator's expression changed, but she did not continue to speak. Although her spiritual consciousness could not sweep out of the receiving heaven's stone, she could feel that these words were not just sensationalism, but the truth. Ning Qing finally understood the realm after the crucible transformation realm, the plundering life realm. He did not have much doubt about Gary's words. This receiving heaven's stone seemed to be protected by a natural restriction, which even his spiritual consciousness could not sweep out. Just like the female cultivator, he had a hunch that the void outside was not a simple matter. However, the restriction protecting the receiving heaven's stone, as Gary said, was easy to get out, but difficult to get in. Many thanks for Brother Gary's information. My name is Lan Wenbin. I also want to ask Brother Gary, how many spirit stones do you need to go to the rootless Black City? The fair-skinned man's tone turned even more respectful. He was very clear that these people had stopped in this place to explain for a long time. It was definitely not because they liked to do good deeds. Gary showed a faint smile. Spirit stones are only needed in the place where you are. We do not need spirit stones here, we need black coins. Black coins? Even Ning Qing felt a bit surprised. Coins were something used in the secular world. How could they still use coins in a place of true cultivation? That's right, black coins. I guess that you do not have any black coins, however, it doesn't matter. You can always exchange them. 1,000 high-grade spirit stones for a black coin. From here to the rootless Black City, you will need 100,000 black coins. If you do not have them, you will not be able to buy a ticket. Gary spoke in a flat tone, however, his words revealed his true fangs. What? The 6 people, including Ning Qing, felt shocked. The other party's meaning was that from here to the rootless Black City, one would need 100 million spirit stones. Even if an ordinary cultivator was rich, it was impossible for them to have so many spirit stones. The reason why Ning Qing had billions of spirit stones was because he had taken back the spirit stones from the sale of the 9-yin geocentric heart essence and the 9-colored mirage tree. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to have so many spirit stones. Moreover, Ning Qing absolutely did not believe in this exchange rate. Even if this was the exchange rate, he did not believe that it would cost 100 million spirit stones to take a ride on the airship. It was just like a billionaire with 2 billion yuan. If this billionaire went out to take a plane, he would need 100 million yuan. His family property would not even be enough for him to go back and forth 10 times. Ning Qing pulled up Ji Luofei and spoke, Luofei, let's go inside and have a look. Saying that, Ning Qing directly turned around to the Gary trio and wanted to enter the row of buildings. There were also some merchant houses there, which he wanted to ask around. The stout and short cultivator called Cecile kept staring at Ji Luofei. When he saw that Ning Qing wanted to leave, he immediately stepped to the side and stopped Ning Qing and Ji Luofei. Wait. Ning Qing spoke up in a cold tone, what, do you still want to rob me? Ha, it's not that I don't dare to rob you. However, you're just a puny sea-opening realm cultivator, is it worth it for me to rob you? This grandpa is here to help you. This female cultivator will stay here with me. I'll help you pay 20,000 black coins. You can go to the rootless Black City first. This female cultivator can go there after a while. Cecile spoke in a matter-of-fact tone. In his opinion, it was a matter of course. Not interested. Ning Qing still tried to restrain his anger. Behind Cecile was the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce. He had never come into contact with this Chamber of Commerce before. However, he had just learned from Gary that there were cultivators in the plundering life realm here. It was a level higher than crucible transformation cultivators. Since the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce was able to establish a foothold in this place, then presumably they also had cultivators in the plundering life realm. As such, he had to be a bit more careful. Even if I'm not interested, I still have to be interested. I want this woman today, no matter if she's okay or not. If not for Ji Luofei, how could Cecil, a crucible transformation 5th level cultivator, have the time to talk with a little cultivator in the sea-opening realm like Ning Qing? What's more, today's business was his auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce's turn. Ning Cheng, on the other hand, calmed down. He wanted to kill Cecil, but he believed that if it was such an obvious act of kidnapping someone at the receiving heaven's stone, then after passing through the heaven's way, it would be tantamount to having no rules at all. Even if it was a place that relied on strength, there was an open rule. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng prepared the crystal ball and calmly asked, "My wife and I just passed through the receiving heaven's stone, and you want to forcibly abduct us?" Could it be that the receiving heaven's stone doesn't have any logic to speak of, and everything is decided by you? Who do you represent? Ha, you still want to talk about reason with this grandpa? That's right, this grandpa has the final say in this place. This grandpa represents the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce. If the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce wants your woman, then you have to hand it over with both hands. That 20,000 black coins are gone. Today, this grandpa is going to keep this woman, even if she doesn't want to, she has to stay. Cecil laughed, while simultaneously reaching out to grab Ning Cheng with his hand. Ning Cheng pulled Ji Luofei back a few steps, dodging Cecil's hand, before speaking up in a voice filled with hatred, "We don't agree, do you want to kill us husband and wife?" "That's right, I want to kill you, what can you do about it?" Cecil finished speaking, bringing out a blue knife. The knife had not yet come out, but several knife lights had already chopped down towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng put away the crystal ball and no longer bothered to talk nonsense with Cecil, before bringing out his Nirvana spear. At the same time, a berserk spear intent cut through the space between him and Cecil, before exploding towards Cecil. No matter who it was, since they dared to have any ideas about Luofei, he would not show even half a shred of mercy. Chapter 451. Cecil knew that Ning Cheng would resist, however, he did not put Ning Cheng in his eyes. Relatively speaking, he was more concerned about Ji Luofei. However, he soon discovered that Ji Luofei did not even move. Just when he felt proud in his heart, he felt his movements slow down. He clearly saw the tearing spear intent coming towards him, however, he did not have the ability to avoid it. Panic instantly filled Cecil's consciousness. He understood that the gap between him and this sea-opening realm cultivator was too big. "Stop!" He had not even finished the word, "stop," when Ning Cheng's long spear had already struck his glabella. A bloody mist erupted, and Cecil did not even have the chance to groan before his head exploded under Ning Cheng's spear. His lifeless body fell to the ground. Ning Cheng calmly picked up his ring and walked in front of Gary. At this moment, not only Gary and Bien Shao were shocked, but the other 3 men and 1 woman also looked at Ning Cheng in horror. A sea-opening realm cultivator, how could he be so powerful? Killing Cecil with a single spear, and Cecil did not even have the room to resist. Seeing Ning Cheng coming over, Gary subconsciously took a few steps back, while he spoke up, "What do you want?" "Brother Gary, Cecil wanted to kill me, did you see it?" As Ning Cheng spoke, a powerful killing intent overflowed, causing Gary to feel a chill run down his spine. He suspected that as long as Ning Cheng was not satisfied with his words, the long spear in Ning Cheng's hand would immediately stab his head. He had never seen such a powerful sea-opening realm cultivator like Ning Cheng. Not to mention a sea-opening realm cultivator, even a plundering life realm cultivator might not be able to kill Cecil so easily. He was sure that if he and Ning Cheng fought, he would definitely end up dead. "I saw it, of course I saw it." "Then do you know why he wanted to kill me?" Cecil had taken a fancy to his friend's Dao companion, so he wanted to find an excuse. His approach was wrong. The rootless Black City absolutely does not allow people to rob the things of cultivators coming from the heavens way. Moreover, Cecil is also not allowed to rob female cultivators. Gary felt Ning Cheng's increasingly powerful killing intent and spoke up without hesitation. Ning Cheng nodded and suddenly spoke, "So that's how it is." "Many thanks, Brother Gary. Cecil wanted to kill me, so I tried to protect him and accidentally injured him. My name is Ning Cheng, because I just arrived here, I do not understand the rules, if anyone asks, I would like to ask Brother Gary to help me testify." Gary cursed in his heart. You call this an accidental injury? You blew Cecil's head off with a single shot. I can feel that kind of killing intent even though I'm so far away. You call that an accidental injury? However, Ning Cheng's killing intent was constantly oppressing him, so he had no choice but to speak up. Of course, of course. Cecil's behavior, my extinguishing karma starry sky fleet hates such people the most. Even if Brother Ning did not say it, I would have come forward to testify for you. Many thanks, Brother Gary. Ning Cheng happily cupped his fists and spoke. It's just a trivial matter. Gary said, but in his heart, he already regarded Ning Cheng as a dead man. Anyone who dared to kill the rotating cultivators on the receiving heaven stone would only end up dead. You might be powerful, but you can only be powerful here. Once you reach the rootless Black City, even if you were twice as powerful, you would still end up dead. Ning Cheng ignored this Gary. He turned to the other black-faced cultivator who was still in shock and asked, this friend should be Bien Shao of the Black City Pill Union, right? Brother Gary of the Extinguishing Karma Starry Sky Fleet was willing to testify for me. I wonder if Brother Bien would also be willing to testify for me. The fierce killing intent once again surged over, causing Bien Shao to feel a chill run down his spine. He quickly cupped his fists and spoke, of course, of course, of course. We also hate this kind of thing. How can we not testify for Brother Ning? At this time, he had already thrown the other female cultivator to the side. Even if he had more courage, he would not dare to say that he wanted that woman to stay. Many thanks to the two of you. Looks like there are still many good people in this world. By the way, Brother Gary, I would like to ask something. Since we will also be considered as people of the rootless Black City in the future, I don't know if we can exchange spirit stones for black coins. Ning Cheng showed a smile, while the killing intent radiating from his body instantly disappeared without a trace. It was as if he did not know that Gary and Bien Shao had already agreed to it. Gary quickly spoke up, of course there is a discount, a lot of it. In the rootless Black City, 100 spirit stones can be exchanged for a black coin. However, it is slightly more expensive here. As for the price, each merchant house has a different price. Ning Cheng calmly nodded, it really is a little bit of a discount. Brother Gary, I'll be going inside for a bit. Goodbye. Ning Cheng had already seen many cultivators coming out from the inside, seemingly feeling that something had happened here. The other 3 men and 1 woman felt shocked. How was this just a little bit of a discount? From 1,000 spirit stones for a black coin to 100 spirit stones for a black coin, how could this be called a little bit of a discount? The 4 people on seeing Ning Cheng enter, quickly cupped their fists towards the Gary duo before chasing after Ning Cheng. The few of them could see that Ning Cheng was not an ordinary person. Although his cultivation was far inferior to the 4 of them, his strength and means were definitely strong. Brother Ning, I'm Lan Wenbin. I just came from Heaven's Way. These are my fellow senior apprentice brothers and sisters. The fair-skinned male cultivator chased after Ning Cheng and cupped his fists. They, like Ning Cheng, also needed to go to the rootless Black City. If everyone joined forces, it would definitely reduce the number of people bullying them. Ning Cheng understood the meaning behind the other party's words, however, he did not care about it. In this place, the more people there were, the more power there was. After the few people introduced themselves to each other, Ning Cheng came to know that the one with the highest cultivation among the 4 was Wu Marui, Crucible Transformation 4th level. Wu Marui had a tall stature and looked very imposing, however, he spoke in a very shy manner. The other 2 were ordinary-looking youths called Mao Yangpeng, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 2nd level. As for the good-looking female cultivator, she also had the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 2nd level, called Ji Ying. These 4 people all came from a mainland that Ning Cheng had never heard of, the Great Wind Mainland. Ning Cheng asked around and found out that the Great Wind Mainland was a bit better than the Yixing Mainland, however, the laws here were also not complete. After cultivating to a certain extent, one would have to enter Heaven's Way in search of a higher realm. Brother Ning, You have to be careful about what happened just now. I don't think that Gary would be willing to testify for you. We have just arrived in this place. Besides going to the rootless Black City, there is no other place to go. If it doesn't work, I suggest giving them some spirit stones to see if this matter can be resolved. After the few people became a little more familiar with each other, Lan Wenbin carefully advised. Ning Qing showed a faint smile. Brother Lan, you don't have to worry about it. Let's see if there is only one rootless Black City in this place. If there really is only one rootless Black City, then we can leave this place as soon as possible and head to the rootless Black City. Seeing Ning Qing speak in such a manner, Lan Wenbin did not continue to persuade him. Senior apprentice Brother Ning, thank you. If you had not killed that Cecile, Bian Xiao would definitely not have let me go. As a Crucible Transformation second-level female cultivator, Ji Ying was very sensitive. Bian Xiao's gaze swept over her body, which she had already noticed. Ning Qing smiled. Everyone came here looking for opportunities. Being able to help you, I am also very happy. Looking at Ning Cheng's group of 6 entering the merchant house, Gary and Bian Xiao's expressions turned gloomy. These 6 businesses originally belonged to them. As such, they did not dare to step forward and speak any nonsense. In fact, they had never seen such an arrogant newcomer. Killing Cecile of the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce, yet still wants us to testify for him. Who does this kid think he is? Even if he is in the plundering life realm, so what? Bian Xiao stared at the backs of Ning Cheng's group and spoke with a hateful voice. Gary spoke up in a cold tone. Brother Bian, I was just thinking about how he could be sure that we would testify for him. Could he have secretly recorded the crystal ball? That's right, if he recorded the crystal ball, then it would be too bad. However, in such a hurry, it should not be possible for him to think of so many things, right? Bian Xiao frowned, before suddenly speaking up. Gary waved his hand. Whether this person recorded the video or not, I think we should change our strategy. This Dao companion surnamed Ning is indeed beautiful. Think about it, if we tell the rootless Black City's junior city master that such a beautiful female cultivator has come to the rootless Black City, what do you think would happen? I really admire Brother Gary, why didn't I think of it? Bian Xiao laughed, feeling quite happy. The few of them had always been arrogant in this place. Moreover, when Ning Qing used his killing intent to suppress them, they felt extremely uncomfortable in their hearts. Let's talk about it later, someone else is coming. Gary waved his hand at Bian Xiao. After Ning Qing and the others entered a rest stop, they found that there were quite a few people here. Because these merchant houses all had various restrictions, he had not seen them before. This was probably the makeshift market with the least number of shops that Ning Qing had ever seen in his life. On the monotonous street, there were only a few people walking around. However, each of the rest stops had a lot of people inside. Did the few of you just come out of heaven's way? Ning Qing and the others had just arrived at the entrance of the rest stop when the rest stop's shop assistant immediately greeted them. Yes, I want to ask, if we want to leave the receiving heaven's stone, is the rootless Black City the only way? Ning Qing replied. The shop assistant quickly spoke up with a smile. Of course, this place belongs to the void. In this place, other than the receiving heaven's stone, the other place is the rootless Black City. If you leave these 2 places, then without a large ship, only death awaits you. However, if the few of you want to go to the rootless Black City, then you will have to wait for 3 days. The boat from here to the rootless Black City leaves every 3 days. How much is the ticket? The people outside asking you for the ticket must have cost more than 50,000 black coins, right? In fact, it is not that high. From here to the rootless Black City, it generally costs around 50,000 black coins. If there are a lot of people, then we can still negotiate the price. Moreover, there are a lot of ships heading to the rootless Black City from here. Moreover, there are several shops that do this kind of business. The shop assistant did not seem to care about Gary and the others and spoke in a very direct manner. Lan Wenbin asked, we have just arrived and do not have any black coins. I want to ask, how do we exchange for black coins? If the few of you want to stay in our rest stop and take the ship arranged by our Chamber of Commerce, then I will give you 200 spirit stones for a black coin. At the same time, the ticket is 50,000 black coins, and the accommodation for a night is 10,000 black coins. 200 spirit stones for a black coin is the cheapest in the receiving heaven's stone. As for 100 spirit stones for a black coin, you can only go to the rootless black city. You definitely cannot exchange for it here. The shop assistant spoke in a very sincere tone. Ning Qing still felt a bit better, however, Lan Wenbin and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. From here to the rootless black city, it would require at least 10 million spirit stones. If they wanted to find a place to stay after arriving at the rootless black city, then wouldn't they need even more spirit stones? Chapter 452. Since the price of accommodation is so high, why don't you go out and pull people in? If we don't enter this place, wouldn't the business end up in someone else's hands? Ning Qing asked in doubt. The shop assistant smiled. Friend, you've just arrived here, so of course you don't know about the situation. There are 12 rest stops here, which also represent 12 forces. Every day, 2 or 3 forces would go out to pick up the cultivators who crossed the heaven's way and arrived at the receiving heaven's stone. Today, it is the turn of the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce, the extinguishing Karma Starry Sky Fleet and the Black City Pill Union. However, there is a rule, that is, if the cultivator who comes here does not agree with these 3 forces and enters this place, then any one of them can pick up the business. You can rest assured that as long as you come to our Heaven City Chamber of Commerce's rest stop, they will definitely not come looking for you. This is the rule. Ning Cheng and the others suddenly understood that the cultivators who had just arrived in this place were the easiest to earn spirit stones. Since there were 12 forces opening merchant houses and rest stops here, it showed that these 12 forces were the most powerful within the rootless Black City. Otherwise, it would be impossible for them to have the opportunity to open a merchant house in this place. Ning Cheng had also taken a look at the merchant houses and found that there were very few merchant houses that sold goods. Most of them were pawn shops and merchant houses that sold mortgages. Most likely, once a cultivator came to this place and did not have enough spirit stones, they could just take out their own things as collateral. As for the cultivators who lived here for a long time, it was estimated that they did not have enough spirit stones to go to the rootless Black City. Regarding these cultivators who did not have enough spirit stones, Ning Ching did not ask them about the methods they used to earn spirit stones. The 2 of us are going to stay here. Brother Lan, what about the 4 of you? Ning Ching quickly decided to stay at the Heaven City rest stop. He believed that this shop assistant would not randomly ask for a price. Moreover, the competition here was also quite fierce. The few of us will also stay here. Lan Wenbin spoke up without hesitation. When the shop assistant heard that the 6 of them were going to stay here, he immediately became overjoyed and quickly spoke up. Do you want to exchange for some black coins first? If you want to stay here, we will also give you a copy of the Rootless Black City's survival manual. Ning Ching exchanged for 150,000 black coins, before bringing along a survival manual and Ji Luofei to his room in the rest stop. Lord Husband. Ning Ching interrupted Ji Luofei's words with a smile. Just call me husband from now on. I feel that calling me husband every time is a bit awkward. Yes. Ji Luofei did not understand the meaning of her husband's words, as such she did not hesitate to call out, Husband, I don't think that those people would give up. After we enter the rootless Black City, we have to be careful. They will definitely not give up. Let's first understand the rootless Black City before we can make a decision. Ning Ching took out the survival manual and opened it. Ning Ching quickly flipped through the handbook in his hands, before handing it over to Ji Luofei. The rootless Black City was located on a broken continent suspended in the void. This broken continent had only one city, the rootless Black City. Outside the rootless Black City, the void was filled with dangers. If they were not careful, they would be devoured by the space. Because of the large population of the rootless Black City, although this city was huge, every inch of land was worth its weight in gold. All the cultivators gathered in the rootless Black City wanted to leave this place. However, the void ship heading to the rootless Black City only came once every 10 years. Moreover, leaving the rootless Black City would require a huge amount of black coins. To survive in the rootless Black City, the only thing one could do was to cultivate and go out to earn black coins. Although it was said to earn black coins, the truth was that one had to form a team to leave the rootless Black City and enter the void to search for black essence stones. Black essence stones were the only material needed to refine black coins. Only by earning a certain amount of black coins would one have the opportunity to board a void ship and leave the rootless Black Stone City. With the dangers in the void, Ning Qing could only imagine how difficult it would be to earn a certain amount of black coins in this place and then leave the rootless Black City. Moreover, according to the introduction, to live in the rootless Black City, one would have to pay a certain amount of black coins every day. In other words, without a fixed source of black coins, one would not have a foothold in the rootless Black City. Although the survival manual stated that if one had top-grade treasures, one could take them out and sell them in the rootless Black City for black coins. No matter what method one used, as long as one could earn a certain amount of black coins, one could then leave the rootless Black City. However, Ning Qing could also imagine that leaving the rootless Black City would require a huge amount of black coins. Ordinary treasures would not be able to gather enough black coins. Although he had some treasures on him, he did not dare to take out the 9 geocentric essence and the 9-colored mirage tree. He had already placed the underworld soul flower on Sun Hanrue's body. He also wanted to help Sun Hanrue find out if her life essence could be restored or not. Moreover, he could not touch this thing. He still had a stalk of the heavenly cusp flower, but it was something useful to him. As for the wood spirit, he would not take it out. Ning Qing took out a black coin and looked at it in his hand. It was about the size of a penny. Although it was called a black coin, it was in fact gray in color. Ning Qing casually tore it, but unexpectedly only managed to tear out a small trace. From this, one could see that this black coin was incomparably hard. A black palace was engraved on the surface of the black coin. What made Ning Qing feel strange was that this black coin only had one denomination. A black coin was equivalent to 1 unit. Ji Luofei also finished reading the manual, causing her face to reveal a trace of worry. Don't worry, if others can live in the rootless Black City, then we can also survive there. Ning Qing comforted Ji Luofei. Maybe he had enough spirit stones to leave the rootless Black City by boat. For the next 3 days, Ning Qing did not leave the rest stop. The less trouble, the better. There were too many forces in this place. He had not even entered the rootless Black City, yet he had already offended the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce. What's more, Ning Qing found that although this place was just a stone in the void, the feeling of cultivation here was much better compared to the Tian continent. This showed that even in this void, the heaven and earth laws here were much stronger compared to the Tian continent. On the 3rd day, the shop assistant of the Heaven City Chamber of Commerce took the initiative to come to the door. 2 distinguished guests, the ship to the rootless Black City is about to depart. The 2 of you, please come with me to the void ship. Ning Qing took out a stack of about 100 black coins and handed it to the shop assistant. You've worked hard these days. This was equivalent to a tip. Although he was cultivating, his powerful spiritual consciousness had already sensed that someone had come to inquire about his situation. However, this shop assistant was also quite generous, waving his hand and saying that he did not know anything. The shop assistant did not expect Ning Qing to be so generous and quickly thanked him. Many thanks, this friend. Perhaps because he had received Ning Cheng's money, after the shop assistant thanked him, he hesitated for a moment before speaking. Friend, I have a few words that might be offensive to you, but I really do not have any malicious intent. I don't know. Ning Qing smiled. It doesn't matter. If you do not have any malicious intent, then it would not be offensive to me. Feel free to speak. Yes, after this friend arrives at the rootless Black City, you must pay attention to the rootless Black City's junior city master Su Liangji. This person cultivates an extreme yang cultivation method. As such, he is extremely lascivious and has harmed countless foreign female cultivators. As the shop assistant spoke until here, he subconsciously glanced at Ji Luofei standing beside Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng obviously understood what he meant. That is, his wife was so beautiful, if he brought her to the rootless Black City, then once that Su Liangji saw her, it would be extremely dangerous. Thank you for the reminder, I understand. Ning Cheng nodded, feeling grateful towards this shop assistant in his heart. The shop assistant continued, since this friend killed Cecil of the Auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce, then presumably you have a way to protect yourself from the Auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce. However, you must be careful of that Gary of the Extinguishing Karma Starry Sky Fleet. This person has a sinister temperament. Although he would not dare to do anything to you, he would most likely tell the rootless Black City's junior city master Su Liangji. The shop assistant did not finish his words, but Ning Cheng already understood. That is, Gary might tell Su Liangji about Ji Luofei's arrival in the rootless Black City. Ning Cheng frowned. This shop assistant definitely would not speak without thinking. Something like this must have happened before. If that was the case, then it would truly be troublesome for him. A few years ago, such a thing happened here. At that time, a stunning female cultivator came to the receiving heaven's stone. Her appearance was not inferior to Senior's Tao companion. However, this female cultivator was alone. At that time, the people on duty were the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce, the Gale Void Alliance and the City Master's Mansion. Gokong Yeshan from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce had taken a fancy to that female cultivator. He could not help but take away that female cultivator on the spot. However, at that time, Junior City Master Su Liangji also happened to come here, and he also took a fancy to that female cultivator. The shop assistant sighed, the rootless Black City's City Master's Mansion is much more powerful compared to the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce. Gokong Yeshan, on the other hand, helped the junior city master to send this female cultivator to Su Liangji. However, he did not expect that this female cultivator would have such a strong chastity. She even fought with all her might, refusing to be caught. At this time, 3 more people arrived at the receiving heaven's stone. It was a couple with a 7 or 8-year-old little girl. This couple felt very dissatisfied with Su Liangji and Gokong Yeshan's actions and immediately attacked on the spot. What happened next? Ning Cheng asked. If not for Junior City Master Su Liangji, Gokong Yeshan would not have been a match for this couple. Even if this couple killed Gokong Yeshan, no one would come looking for trouble with them for a period of time. It's just like when my friend killed Cecile. It's just that Su Liangji had a group of people following him. This couple plus that female cultivator was not a match for these people and ended up being forced out of the receiving heaven's stone. As the shop assistant spoke till here, he shook his head. Apparently, he knew that once someone was forced out of the receiving heaven's stone, it would only result in death. The receiving heaven's stone was completely surrounded by natural restrictions. These restrictions prevented the countless spatial wind edges and spatial cracks from approaching the receiving heaven's stone. However, it was very simple to get out of the receiving heaven's stone, it would not take much effort at all. Once this couple and that stunning woman came out of the receiving heaven's stone and entered the endless void, it would be a strange thing if anything good happened. Do you know the name of that female cultivator? Ning Cheng couldn't help but feel a bit worried as he thought about the many cultivators from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect who came here a few years ago. However, he also knew that at that time, the Tian continent had sent 30 crucible transformation cultivators together. It stood to reason that it was impossible for a single person to appear here. The shop assistant immediately replied, I know, her name is Yan Ji. Chapter 453. Hearing the 2 words Yan Ji, Ning Cheng's killing intent instantly soared. The shop assistant standing not far from Ning Cheng felt this killing intent invading his body and took a few steps back, while looking at Ning Cheng in horror. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath and spoke, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. After Yan Ji and the other couple left the receiving heaven's stone, is there any news about them? The shop assistant immediately understood that the female cultivator named Yan Ji definitely had some kind of relationship with this person in front of him. He shook his head and spoke, no, after leaving the receiving heaven's stone, if one is not on the void ship, wanting to come back again would be extremely difficult. Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce, Su Liangji. Ning Cheng's killing intent gathered wave after wave in his heart. He was well aware of his own situation. His mind was not as calm as Mu Ziming and the others. Facing this kind of thing, if replaced by another person, they might have considered it for a long time. However, at this moment, he only wanted to kill people. No matter what, he wanted to eliminate the people who persecuted Yan Ji. What about the little girl? Ning Cheng resisted the killing intent in his heart and asked again. Oh. The shop assistant suddenly felt that he was a bit too talkative. He felt that with Ning Cheng's temperament, if he spoke out, it might end up harming him. However, since the other party asked, he had no choice but to answer, the little girl should still be here. I guess that she should be in the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's rest stop. You said that the little girl is still here? Ning Cheng asked in shock. The shop assistant nodded, this friend should not have too much hope. The reason why the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce did not kill the little girl was because they wanted to use her to lure the couple back. The treasure that the couple used seemed to be a top-grade thunder-attributed magical weapon, even surpassing the best quality true artifact. The Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce cares a lot about thunder-attributed magical weapons. Therefore, they decided to keep the little girl alive. As for whether the little girl is alive or dead, I'm not very clear about it. The Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's methods are extremely vicious. I'm afraid that even if they tortured the little girl to death, they would have already tortured her to death. The killing intent in Ning Cheng's body almost solidified and surrounded his body. Ji Luofei grabbed his hand, which calmed him down a bit. My ticket will be delayed for a few days. I'm now going to the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's rest stop. In addition, I also want to ask you, the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce and the Auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce, what is the cultivation of the most powerful cultivator? The shop assistant knew that he would not be able to persuade Ning Cheng, and could only speak up. The most powerful of these two chambers of commerce are in the plundering life realm. I suggest that this friend should not be impulsive. With his friend's strength, killing Cecil, as long as he produced evidence, it should not be a big problem. At most, he would just have to compensate with some black coins. However, it would be a big deal if they were to touch the Chamber of Commerce's inn. Ning Cheng apparently did not listen to the waiter's words, as he quickly left the room with Ji Luofei. Brother Ning, let's board the airship and head to the rootless Black City. Lan Wenbin, who was waiting at the entrance of the Heaven City's rest stop, saw Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei coming down and quickly spoke up. Elder brother Lan, the few of you can go ahead first. I still have some accounts to settle here. Ning Cheng finished, and did not wait for Lan Wenbin to answer, before he hurriedly brought Ji Luofei out of the rest stop. Lan Wenbin and the others looked at Ning Cheng's departing back in doubt. They did not know what Ning Cheng wanted to settle. Did he not want to let go of that Gary? Don't you know when to advance or retreat? The receiving heaven's stone was not very big, it only had a radius of 12 miles. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had already swept out to the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's rest stop. The Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's rest stop was a bit smaller than the Heaven City's rest stop, however, the business here was quite good. At least Ning Cheng could see that this rest stop was filled with people. Friend, please wait. Don't you live in the Heaven City's rest stop? Why are you here? The waiter at the entrance of the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's rest stop stopped Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei. This waiter seemed to know that Ning Cheng had killed Cecil, as he spoke to Ning Cheng in a polite tone. Ning Cheng calmly spoke up, I'm looking for Gokong Yeshan. Who's looking for me? A rough voice came from outside the rest stop, followed by a man wearing a brown cultivator's robe walking in. This man looked very rough and careless, as if he was the kind of person who did not have any ulterior motives. With the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 7th level, his entire body exuded a tyrannical aura. Are you Gokong Yeshan? Ning Qing stared at this rough man and asked. Gokong Yeshan ignored Ning Cheng's words. He had just arrived at the receiving heaven's stone and did not know about the matter of Ning Qing killing Cecil. What's more, Ning Cheng was just a cultivator at the 7th level of Sea Opening Realm. As such, he did not put him in his eyes. His eyes kept staring at Ji Luofei, while he felt a burst of excitement in his heart. Coming here today, it truly was a stroke of luck for him to see such a woman. Thinking that he would soon possess such a woman, he could not help but smile from the bottom of his heart. There were not many female cultivators in the rootless Black City, and even fewer stunning female cultivators. What's more, even if there were a few stunning female cultivators, they would still have people backing them. This place was not an ordinary true cultivation continent. As long as one had the strength, one could casually go out and bring back a dozen beautiful female cultivators. Every beautiful female cultivator in this place was a rare resource. The waiter, on seeing Gokong Yeshan's appearance, quickly sent a sound transmission. Lord Gokong, this person is called Ning Cheng. He killed Cecil at the receiving heaven's stone 3 days ago. Gokong Yeshan felt shocked in his heart. Cecil was only at the Crucible Transformation 5th level, yet this person in front of him managed to kill him. Did this person conceal his cultivation? Thinking of this, he no longer dared to look at Ji Luofei with an unscrupulous gaze. Instead, he glanced at Ning Cheng and spoke. Yes, I am Gokong Yeshan. Do you know me? Oh, I just wanted to ask you about one thing. 6 years ago, did a female cultivator by the name of Yan Ji come to the receiving heaven's stone, and then you tried to capture her? As a result, she and another couple were forced to leave this place. Ning Qing spoke in a genial tone. Gokong Yeshan showed a faint smile. If it were something else, he would have felt some fear. However, when it came to Yan Ji, he did not care even half a bit. The matter of driving Yan Ji away was not only related to him, but also to the rootless Black City's junior city master Su Liangji. Who would have the courage to provoke the rootless Black City's junior city master? Unless they wanted to court death. That's right. That woman doesn't know what's good for her. Junior City Master only invited her to discuss Dao laws, yet she still showed such a bad temper. She deserved it. Gokong Yeshan spoke with a calm voice. Ning Qing suddenly spoke up in a clear voice. All the people living in the Silver Thunder Rest Stop must leave immediately. Today, I want to destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's rest stop at the receiving heaven's stone. After 10 breaths, those who do not leave will be killed without mercy. Ning Cheng's words were just like a shocking thunder that attracted all the people here. Not only the people from the Silver Thunder Rest Stop, but even the rest of the people also felt shocked. Was this fellow an idiot? Daring to destroy the Silver Thunder Rest Stop at the receiving heaven's stone? Even an idiot wouldn't do such a thing, right? You're courting death. Gokong Yeshan reacted and roared, bringing out a huge bronze drum. However, without waiting for him to act, Ning Qing also brought out his Nirvana spear. Boom! When the Nirvana spear struck the bronze drum, Gokong Yeshan immediately felt a powerful backlash. His bronze drum had yet to show its might when Ning Cheng's Nirvana spear suppressed it. Gokong Yeshan was experienced and knowledgeable, but this kind of spatial shackles that did not belong to him left Gokong Yeshan horrified. He certainly knew about domains, but Ning Qing did not use any weapons. Only the shackles of a domain could produce such a terrifying effect. In the rootless Black City, even among the plundering life realm, there were only a few who comprehended domains. However, today, he unexpectedly met an expert with a domain, causing the shadow of death to envelop him. Gokong Yeshan no longer cared about the consequences and crazily burned his essence blood in an attempt to break free. Fortunately, Ning Cheng's domain was not something he could control. Even Ning Qing himself could not control his fake domain. After spurting out a few mouthfuls of blood, Gokong Yeshan broke free from the shackles of Ning Cheng's domain and frantically retreated. He had not yet retreated to a safer place when a dozen axe shadows swept over. These dozen axe shadows were covered in dense axe lines, which sealed off Gokong Yeshan's retreat. At this time, Gokong Yeshan had not yet brought out his defensive magical weapon. However, in just a moment of hesitation, these axe lines sliced through Gokong Yeshan's body. Blood sprayed out, and Gokong Yeshan's axe lines tore through Ning Cheng's body. From the start of the battle between Ning Cheng and Gokong Yeshan, it only took a dozen breaths before Ning Cheng beheaded Gokong Yeshan. After a moment of silence, the entire Silver Thunder Rest Stop turned chaotic, as countless cultivators who stayed in the Silver Thunder Rest Stop rushed out. Several cultivators from the Silver Thunder Rest Stop, who had just rushed out to besiege Ning Cheng, on seeing Ning Cheng instantly kill Gokong Yeshan, did not know whether to advance or retreat. Ning Cheng did not show even half a shred of politeness, as his axe line combined with his Nirvana spear swept out. At this moment, the entire entrance of the Silver Thunder Rest Stop turned into a bloody mist. The Silver Thunder Rest Stop's restrictions shattered under Ning Cheng's spear, causing the entire rest stop to clearly appear in Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. However, the next moment, Ning Cheng angrily punched at the entrance of the rest stop. With a boom sound, the entire rest stop turned into ruins. Several of the rest stop stewards, who had managed to escape in panic, were directly torn to pieces by Ning Cheng's anger. Chapter 454. In the basement of the Silver Thunder Rest Stop, a skinny little girl was imprisoned on an altar by an array formation, while a pale yellow flame burned under the array formation. Ning Cheng did not need to ask. He knew that this little girl must be the little girl left behind by the couple. According to the shop assistant, this little girl had been here for 6 years. It was reasonable to say that she should be around 12 to 13 years old. However, Ning Cheng was looking at a 7 to 8-year-old little girl. The reason why this little girl had not died yet was that the array formation under the altar did not allow her to die. Coupled with her cultivation at the essence building realm, with the meager amount of spiritual qi, she could barely hang on to her last breath. Soaring anger started to burn in Ning Cheng's heart. Ning Cheng punched the basement into pieces, smashing the array formation into pieces. He then reached out and picked up the little girl imprisoned on the array formation. The little girl's skinny body, in Ning Cheng's hands, felt like a piece of dried wood, light as a feather, without even half a shred of weight. Ji Luofei's eyes also turned red as she watched from the side. Treating a 6 to 7-year-old little girl in such a cruel manner, this Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce simply did not have even half a shred of humanity. The pitiful little girl was taken away by Ning Cheng from the array formation altar. Her entire body collapsed, while her soul, which was suspended by the array formation, rapidly weakened. From this, one could see that in just a moment, this little girl's life would vanish into thin air. Ning Cheng no longer cared about anything else. He directly cut a piece of essence of wood and infused it into the little girl's body. The powerful life energy of the essence of wood instantly stabilized the life of the little girl in Ning Cheng's arms. Only at this moment did Ning Cheng feel relieved. He once again put a pill into the little girl's mouth and looked down at the little girl in his arms. At this time, the little girl had been tortured to the point that her appearance could not be seen at all. Even a few sparse hairs had fallen off. Her skinny body looked like a lotus in the cold winter. Ning Cheng stood above the ruins of the Silver Thunder Rest Stop and looked at the many onlooking cultivators. He then spoke out in a loud voice. The Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce burned a 7 to 8-year-old little girl with a soul-burning array formation. I, Ning Cheng, swear that if I do not destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce, I will not be a human. This time, Ning Cheng did not collect any evidence. Since things had already reached this point, any reasoning would be useless. Only blood would be able to explain everything clearly. Although some of the cultivators disapproved of it, most of the cultivators agreed with Ning Cheng's words and felt that the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce had gone too far. Everyone, when I came yesterday, Cecil from the Jiaxing Chamber of Commerce tried to kidnap my wife. I thought, if the end of Heaven's Road was filled with this kind of trash, it would only add more filth to Heaven's Road. Today, I will say these words here: whoever dares to act like this in heaven's way, I, Ning Cheng, will definitely kill them. This massacre will start from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce. Ning Cheng's tone was filled with killing intent as it spread out. No one dared to underestimate Ning Cheng. A person who could kill a Crucible Transformation 7th level cultivator in just a dozen breaths was definitely not a simple person. Gary and Bien Xiao, who were hiding on the side, were completely dumbfounded. Ning Cheng dared to kill Cecil. From this, they knew that Ning Cheng was not a person who was good at enduring, nor was he a person who would let others bully him. No matter how much courage they had, they could never have imagined that Ning Cheng would dare to directly destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce at the Receiving Heaven's Stone. What's more, they all knew about this old matter. Not only did it involve the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce, but it also involved the rootless Black City's junior city master Su Liangji. How much courage would one need to have? Or was it because the ignorant were fearless? Ning Cheng walked out of the ruins of the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce with the little girl in his arms. The cultivators watching from the outside immediately parted to make way for them. At the entrance of the Heaven City's rest stop, the shop assistant on seeing Ning Cheng come over quickly bowed and spoke, "Greetings, Senior." With Ning Cheng's power and influence, regardless of the outcome in the future, addressing him as Senior would definitely not be a problem. Ning Cheng nodded. "I still want to stay in the Heaven City's rest stop, I wonder if that's possible." "Ha, Brother Ning can stay in my Heaven City's rest stop. We open our doors to do business, how could it not be possible? From now on, Brother Ning can stay in our rest stop for only 1,000 black coins a night. Even if you want to exchange black coins, you will still have to exchange 100 spirit stones for 1 black coin." A laughing voice arrived. Ning Cheng then saw a middle-aged man with a mustache. This middle-aged man had a smile on his face and looked very gentle. Moreover, his cultivation was at the Crucible Transformation 8th level. "Steward Mu." The shop assistant on seeing this man quickly bowed and called out. The man nodded and cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng before speaking. "This one is Mu Zunjian, the steward of the Heaven City's Chamber of Commerce in the Receiving Heaven Stone rest stop. I'm Ning Cheng, and this is my wife, Ji Luofei. Many thanks to Steward Mu for giving me such a preferential price." Ning Cheng also cupped his fists and spoke. Although Ning Cheng knew that the Chamber of Commerce in this place had some conflicts, Ning Cheng still felt grateful for Mu Zunjian's attitude. The reason why Ning Cheng did not want to go to the rootless Black City immediately was that the little girl had not yet woken up and her body was still in the process of recovering. The second reason was that he felt that his strength was still a bit low. The laws of this place were a bit stronger compared to the Tian continent's laws. If he used spirit stones and medicinal pills to cultivate in this place, it would have a slight effect. Since he had offended so many people, he definitely would not have the strength. Ning Cheng had never been to the rootless Black City, however, he now knew about the Receiving Heaven Stone. The Receiving Heaven Stone allowed him to rush into the void from anywhere. Even if he ended up besieged, he would still have room to escape. For the time being, regardless of how dangerous the void was, it was at least a way out. Watching Ning Cheng enter the Heaven City's rest stop from a distance, Lan Wenbin remained silent. He had always thought that Ning Cheng had the strength to kill Cecile. But now it seemed that it was not just a matter of strength. If replaced with him, even if he had the strength, he would not have done such a thing to court death. This person's courage truly covers the heavens. Ji Ying also muttered. Although she had just arrived at the Receiving Heaven Stone, she still knew a bit about the consequences of Ning Cheng destroying the Silver Thunder Merchant House. "Let's go." Lan Wenbin sighed. He originally wanted to make friends with Ning Cheng. But Ning Cheng did such a thing, he did not dare to make friends with Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had a lot of healing pills, coupled with the essence of wood. In just 2 days, the little girl finally woke up. However, her eyes were filled with horror. For a 7 or 8-year-old girl to cultivate to the essence building realm, her qualifications were definitely top-notch. Moreover, Ning Cheng did not need to ask. He knew that after this little girl was born, she spent almost all of her time cultivating. Otherwise, even if her qualifications were good, it would be impossible for her to reach the essence-building realm at the age of 7 or 8. This was a pitiful little girl. Her parents had strictly urged her to cultivate since she was a child. Finally, she managed to come out with great difficulty. However, she ended up being brutally burned by the soul-burning array formation for 6 years. Even if it was Ning Cheng, he still felt uncomfortable in his heart. Little sister, you don't have to be afraid. No one will use fire to burn you in the future. What's your name? Where do you come from? Ji Luofei grabbed the little girl's hand and gently asked. Perhaps it was Ji Luofei's soft eyes and beautiful appearance that made the little girl feel a little more at ease. She stuttered out a few words, "My name is Yi Zhuzhu." As Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei continued to talk to Yi Zhuzhu finally felt a little better. Just as the shop assistant had said before, Yi Zhuzhu and her parents came from the Holy Heaven continent. Her father was called Yi Jin, while her mother was called Chang Manin. From the time she could remember, Yi Zhuzhu had been soaking in a variety of medicinal liquids and cultivating in various ways. Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei also gave out a sad sigh. This little girl simply did not live a happy day. Uncle. Did the people from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce kill my father? Yi Zhuzhu finally asked her first question. Although she asked the question, she still looked timid, fearing that Ning Cheng would scold her. No, your father is gone for the time being. You will meet again in the future. Ning Cheng could only try his best to comfort the little girl in front of him. Even he did not know what to say. Yi Zhuzhu lowered her head. Although she was young, it did not mean that she was not sensible. After experiencing so many hardships, although her body was still that of a 7 to 8-year-old, her mind was no longer that of a child. Uncle, I want to cultivate. Yi Zhuzhu's tone was somewhat timid. She did not know if her uncle and big sister who saved her would get angry if she made such a request. Cultivation required cultivation resources. When she was a child, she followed her parents and did not know how many heavenly materials and earthly treasures she had used. Ning Cheng gently stroked Yi Zhuzhu's head. After the nourishment of the essence of wood, in just 2 short days, she had already lost all her hair, and once again grew some short hair. Zhuzhu, you don't have to worry about cultivation. You and big sister Luofei should wait for your body to recover before you start cultivating. Cultivation is not something that can be done in a day or 2. You can't spend all your time cultivating. Sometimes you need to do other things. Although Yi Zhuzhu's actual age was 13 or 14 years old, Ning Cheng still did not want her to spend all her time on cultivation. You can go into seclusion. I'll take care of Zhuzhu. Ji Luofei could see Ning Cheng's thoughts. Ning Cheng wanted to stay here to help Yi Zhuzhu recuperate, but he also wanted to improve his own cultivation. Rootless Black City. For countless years, no one knew how many cultivators had gathered in this place. Most of the cultivators either died of old age in this place or fell within the void. However, there were also some cultivators who left the rootless Black City and entered a more blood-boiling starry sky. Any place, after a long time, would have its own rivers and lakes, and the rootless Black City was no exception. In the rootless Black City, there were countless big and small forces. However, the forces that could truly speak in the rootless Black City were only 12. The auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce was undoubtedly one of them. Although they did not have the ability to leave the rootless Black City alone, they still traded with many merchant ships from distant planets and continents. They even had the ability to obtain some of the quotas to leave the rootless Black City. At this time, the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce was located in the rootless Black City's merchant house, with several men and women sitting in the assembly hall. This was because a very arrogant newcomer had arrived at the receiving Heaven's Stone. This newcomer had unexpectedly killed Cecil, the crucible transformation cultivator from the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce at the receiving Heaven's Stone. There is no need to go to the receiving Heaven's Stone. After arriving at the receiving heaven's stone, there is simply no way out. This person will definitely come to the rootless Black City. Wait until he arrives at the rootless Black City before we start. Even if the other party is powerful, he is not an expert in the plundering life realm. At best, he is just a crucible transformation cultivator. There is nothing worth paying attention to. An old woman with dark red hair spoke out in a flat tone. Chapter 455. What I mean is, let's not move against this person, let's just pretend that we don't know anything about this matter. Another Crucible Transformation 9th level cultivator sitting next to the old woman spoke up. The old woman sneered, "Xianingqiu, I didn't expect that the more you live, the more timid you become. You are just a new cultivator, yet you are so scared that you don't even dare to breathe loudly." The Crucible Transformation 9th level cultivator called Xianingqiu replied in a cold tone, "If you knew what this newcomer did not long ago, you would not have said that." "What did he do?" the old woman subconsciously asked, while the rest of the people in the room also looked at this man. Xianingqiu spoke up, "He leveled the Silver Thunder Rest Stop and instantly killed Gokong Yeshan." The people belonging to the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce in the Silver Thunder Rest Stop, none of them managed to escape. The people in the room immediately looked at Xianingqiu in shock. It was not the first or second time that an arrogant newcomer came to the receiving heaven's stone. Moreover, they had seen this kind of thing many times. However, they had never seen a newcomer who dared to level the Silver Thunder Rest Stop before. Not to mention a single person, even their auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce would not dare to level the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's rest stop on the receiving heaven's stone. That's not all. After this person eradicated the Silver Thunder Merchant House, he also said that the day he came to the rootless Black City would be the day the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce would perish. After listening to Xianingqiu's words, the old woman opened her mouth and spoke up after a while. "The Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce actually did not do anything to him. The Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's association head, Pu Leng, is not in the rootless Black City. Do you think that without at least 2 plundering life realm experts, do you think that it would be possible? Although I am timid, senior apprentice Sister Fei is much more courageous than me. How about senior apprentice Sister Fei go and capture that Ningqing fellow?" However, Xianingqiu did not let go of the speechless old woman. She continued to add a sentence. The white-haired old man sitting at the head waved his hand and spoke, "Enough, this person can instantly kill Gokong Yeshan, which means that he is definitely not a Crucible Transformation cultivator. Even if he is a Crucible Transformation cultivator, he is not an ordinary Crucible Transformation cultivator. Cecil has always been very arrogant at the receiving heaven's rock, and sooner or later he will cause trouble for our Jiaxing Merchant Association. Now that he was killed, he deserved it. Since the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce wants to deal with this person, then my auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce will not make a move for the time being. If the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce kills this person, then we will just have to stab them with a knife. If the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce wants to cooperate with us, we can also take this opportunity to speak." This white-haired old man was the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce's Deputy Association head, Mao Shushuan. As for the meaning behind his words, everyone present understood it. Although Cecil was not much, he was still a member of the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce. Since the other party had killed Cecil, the Jiaxing Enterprise would definitely seek revenge. Now that this person had also offended the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce, the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce would be able to profit from the sidelines. Therefore, he decided to first take a look at what the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce had to say. Ning Qing found it strange. He had been cultivating in the Heaven City's merchant house at the receiving Heaven's Stone for 2 months, and his cultivation had already reached the peak of the 7th level of Sea Opening Realm. However, the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce had yet to send anyone to look for him. In these 2 months, Yi Zhuzhu had also recovered very well. With the help of various medicinal pills and food supplements, Yi Zhuzhu not only had short black hair, but also no longer looked like a bag of bones. Yi Zhu was only at the early stages of the essence-building realm. Although she was able to abstain from eating, Ji Luofei still found a way to get some supplements for her. Although her pair of big eyes on her thin face still made people feel distressed, it also gave her a lot more vitality. She no longer looked like a 7 or 8-year-old child and looked slightly older. Ning Qing did not continue to cultivate. His cultivation consumed too many spirit stones. In the rootless Black City, spirit stones were very important. Without spirit stones, nothing could be done. Moreover, staying in the Heaven City's rest stop was just too expensive. Although Mutsuanjian had lowered the price to the lowest possible level, and did not even collect Yi Zhu's accommodation fees, it was still not the way to go. Originally, he wanted to wait for the people from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce to come to the receiving Heaven's Stone. After killing a batch, he would then head to the rootless Black City to kill another batch. But now that the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce did not come, he did not need to wait any longer. Once he arrived at the rootless Black City, he would definitely kill the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce. Luofei, we're leaving for the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce. 2 months later, Ning Qing finally made a decision. Hearing that Ning Qing wanted to leave, the Heaven City's rest stop steward, Mu Tsuanjian, specially sent Ning Qing to the rootless Black City's void ship. At the same time, he also sent a message to Ning Qing. The reason why the people from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce did not come was because the association head Pu Leng had brought many experts from the Chamber of Commerce and left the rootless Black City. Moreover, the people from the Black City Pill Union and the City Master's Mansion had also left. Even the junior City Master Su Liangji had gone with them. It had been almost half a year since they left, yet these people had yet to return. This news made Ning Qing feel relieved. Since the experts from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce were not here, it was the best thing for him. He wanted to take the opportunity to destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce first. As for that junior city master Su Liangji, he was even more determined to kill him. However, he knew that he had to eat one mouthful at a time. He had to take care of them one by one. When Ning Qing and Ji Luofei boarded the ship with Yi Zhu, some cultivators took the initiative to greet them. Ning Qing was a famous name in the receiving Heaven's Stone, there was no one who did not know about him. Although they had never seen Ning Qing in person, Ning Cheng's battle crystal balls were sold everywhere. Even the steward in charge of the void ship arranged a good room for Ning Qing. As for the rest of the cultivators, they chose to stay in the cabins of the ship. Ning Qing felt a little speechless in his heart. This world was just like this. He raised the Silver Thunder rest stop to the ground because the people in this rest stop were too shameless. Now, these people seemed to regard him as an unreasonable and ruthless person. Sure enough, good people always end up getting bullied. Did ruthless people get any benefits? From the receiving Heaven's Stone to the rootless Black City was not too far away. As such, the void ship only took 3 days to travel along a fixed route. Even if it was a huge void ship, it would have to travel along a fixed route in such a place. Otherwise, it would face the danger of tearing through the void. Moreover, this void ship also had different grades. This void ship from the receiving Heaven's Stone to the rootless Black City should be the lowest grade. 3 days later, the void ship stopped outside a huge city. A white road about 2 or 3 feet wide extended from the void ship to the edge of the city wall in the distance. Ning Qing guessed that this giant city was definitely the rootless Black City. However, the rootless Black City was not black in color, rather, it was a gray-colored city. An endless number of restrictions and arrays covered the outside of the city. Some of these restrictions were man-made, while others were natural. However, with such dense restrictions, one's spiritual consciousness simply could not sweep in. Outside the rootless Black City, one could only see the endless void everywhere. Sweeping out with one's spiritual consciousness would cause one to feel flustered. Ning Qing knew that this was because he rarely came outside the void. As for the periphery of the rootless Black City, even Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could not sweep through it. A large number of cultivators stepped onto the white road and headed towards the rootless Black City. Ji Luofei pulled Yi Zhuzhu and Ning Qing together as they followed the crowd of cultivators into the rootless Black City. The rootless Black City's city gate restriction had already been opened, while 2 early-stage crucible transformation cultivators stood at the entrance. Every cultivator who wanted to enter the rootless Black City had to purchase an identity jade card from this place. One had to engrave their name, aura, and appearance on it, otherwise, they would not be allowed to enter the rootless Black City. Each identity jade card was worth 10,000 black coins. After the Ning Qing trio purchased 3 identity jade cards, they also obtained 3 small manuals. This manual was similar to the survival manual given to them by the shop assistant from the Heaven City's rest stop, however, it contained slightly more content. The rootless Black City was divided into 5 regions. The rootless Black City was divided into 5 regions. The East City and the South City were the residences of wealthy cultivators. Generally, the more powerful cultivators lived in this area. The land and immortal caves in this area were also the second highest in terms of price, ordinary cultivators simply could not afford them. The North City was the place where the middle-class cultivators resided. Some rogue cultivators formed a variety of void adventure teams in this area to enter the void in search of black essence stones. The West City was the place where the poorest cultivators resided. Moreover, the spiritual chi in this area was also the weakest. Generally, every time the rootless Black City suffered a siege from the void beasts, it would start from the West City. The Central City was the heart of the entire rootless Black City, where the rulers of the rootless Black City resided. There were also some large chambers of commerce, as well as some fleets that gathered in this place. The land and immortal caves in this area were even more expensive. Within the entire rootless Black City, it was the most expensive place. Moreover, it was not something that could be bought with black coins, one would also need to have a high status. The manual was very straightforward and did not conceal even half a bit of information. Moreover, the manual also indicated some of the main chambers of commerce and the street distribution of the rootless Black City. Ning Qing easily found the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce. The Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce was located in the Central City district of the rootless Black City. On the booklet, there were also some introductions to the sale and rental of immortal caves. Many of the cultivators who entered the rootless Black City dispersed one after another. These people either went to buy their own immortal caves, or went to rent places. There were many rest stops in the rootless Black City, however, there were very few rest stops. If one wanted to live in the rootless Black City for a long time, one simply could not afford to stay in a rest stop. Ji Luofei always looked after Ning Qing, whatever Ning Qing did, she would always follow behind him. Yi Zhuzhu, on the other hand, did not make any decisions. Carefully holding Ji Luofei's hand, her pair of bright eyes glanced around. From time to time, she would also touch the ring on her hand. This ring was something that Ning Qing had given to her. Inside it, not only did it contain a variety of medicinal pills and spirit stones for cultivation, but it also contained many talismans and magical weapons. I want to destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce first, do you have any good ideas? Ning Qing had never given up on destroying the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce. In any case, he and the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce were like fire and water. Even if he did not start, once the people from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce returned, they would definitely take action against him. What's more, if he did not destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce, he would always feel uncomfortable in his heart. However, Ning Qing was also very clear in his heart. He had just arrived here, and if he immediately started to destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce, it would definitely be a very dangerous thing to do. It would be best to first find a way out before starting. Otherwise, even the guards of the rootless Black City would not let him go. Unless his strength truly made everyone feel fear, no one would dare to stand up and speak any nonsense. Chapter 456. Ji Luofei rarely expressed her own opinions. Now that Ning Cheng asked about it, she hesitated for a moment before speaking up. The rootless Black City has a lot of guards. Moreover, there was also someone following us a moment ago. I'm afraid that it was someone from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce. I think we should find a place to stay in the northern part of the city first, and then figure out the situation here in detail. It would be best if we could find a foothold outside of the rootless Black City, otherwise, in case we fail, we would have nowhere to go. Alright, let's go and see if there are any caves in the North City. Ning Cheng immediately agreed with Ji Luofei's words. Just a moment ago, Ning Cheng had already noticed that someone was following them. He was sure that the people following him were not from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce but from the auspicious Star Chamber of Commerce. The rootless Black City Trade Union, this was the largest gathering place for cultivators within the rootless Black City. As long as one was a cultivator living in the rootless Black City, he or she would have definitely come here. This guild hall could be said to be the largest public place in the entire rootless Black City. Although it was not a public square, it was not much smaller than an ordinary public square. Of course, such a large area would not be built in the center of the city. Instead, it would be built at the edge of the middle city. After the Ning Cheng trio entered the guild hall, they saw a huge hall in front of them. On the first floor of this hall were various array formation displays. Countless information slowly scrolled through these displays. These were all information on the rental, sale, and transfer of the cave abode. There was a sign at the entrance of the staircase on this floor. On it was written that the second floor was for quests and parties. All kinds of information could be found in this place. Ning Cheng asked a few questions and found the only way to leave the rootless Black City. That Gary really did not lie to him before. If he wanted to leave the rootless Black City, then he would have to rely on some of the forces within the rootless Black City. Every 10 years, a void ship from the Starry Sky mainland would arrive at the rootless Black City. These ships would purchase a variety of ores and materials from this place. The void around the rootless Black City was rich in black essence stones. Every time these void ships came, they would always return with a full load. Because these void ships wanted to purchase black essence stones and other materials, they had an inextricable relationship with the major forces within the rootless Black City. If one wanted to leave the rootless Black City on this airship and head to the real Starry Sky mainland, one would have to contact these forces. Only by paying a huge amount of black coins would he have the opportunity to walk away. Otherwise, even if there were many empty seats when the void ships left, they wouldn't let you take them. The last time a ship had come to this place was 2 years ago, which indicated that even if the Ning Cheng trio wanted to leave this place, they would have to wait for at least another 8 years. Ning Cheng knew that now was not the time to think about leaving. He had to find a place to live. 8 years was not 8 days. Although immortal caves in the rootless Black City were rare, it did not mean that they did not exist. In this place, there were only a few cultivators who could afford a decent immortal cave with a large number of black coins. Ning Cheng quickly found the information he needed. On a huge array formation display, it contained all the information regarding the sale and rental of immortal caves within the rootless Black City's North City. A small immortal cave with a Sihiyuan would cost at least 1 million black coins. 1 million black coins was equivalent to 100 million spirit stones. Ordinary cultivators would find it hard to afford it. Moreover, this was only the immortal caves in the northern city. The immortal caves in the eastern city and the southern city were worth millions, or even tens of millions of black coins. As for the cave abode in the western part of the city, the price was the cheapest. However, that place was very chaotic. Generally, people with some wealth would not go to the West District. Let's buy an immortal cave in the northern city. Ning Cheng chose an immortal cave priced at 1.08 million black coins in the northern city. 100 million black coins was not much for him. Ning Cheng did not exchange all his spirit stones for black coins. He only exchanged them for 200 million spirit stones worth of black coins, which amounted to a total of 2 million black coins. For Ningcheng, spirit stones could be used for cultivation and driving magical artifacts, as well as arranging spiritual gathering arrays, among other things. Black coins were just a currency unit. Although they could be used in the rootless Black City, who knows if they could still be used after leaving the rootless Black City. Regarding Ningcheng, a cultivator who had just arrived, spending 1,000,000 black coins to buy an immortal cave, the people from the trade union did not find it strange. Many of the cultivators who had just arrived in this place could afford such an immortal cave. Some of the wealthy cultivators even bought immortal caves in the southern city and the eastern city. However, these cultivators would only sell the immortal caves they bought after a period of time. They would not sell them for good ones, but for bad ones. The rootless Black City did not allow private flights. After Ningcheng purchased the immortal cave, under the guidance of the seller, he was able to board a small airship. This airship flew along a fixed route within the rootless Black City. In just an hour, it arrived at the North City where he had purchased the immortal cave. Along the way, Ningcheng felt the distinct hierarchy of the rootless Black City. In the middle district, there were all kinds of commercial buildings and rest stops. As they approached the North District, the streets were obviously in decline. Even though there were some merchant houses, they were very simple and there weren't many people. After arriving at the residential area, there were no more commercial buildings to be seen. The cultivator who sold the immortal cave to Ningcheng helped Ningcheng open the immortal cave's array formation, and immediately left the place. The location of the immortal cave that Ningcheng purchased was not very good. It was close to the edge of the rootless Black City. Generally speaking, the closer the cave was to the edge, the less safe it was. Ningcheng, Ji Luofei, and the other two had just arrived at the entrance of the immortal cave when dozens of spiritual consciousnesses swept over. A few spiritual consciousnesses lingered on Ningcheng's body for a long time, but none of them took it back. Apparently, they were aware that Ningcheng's cultivation was too low, only at the late stages of the sea-opening realm. However, not many spiritual consciousnesses swept over Ji Luofei. After all, Ji Luofei was a crucible transformation cultivator. Yi Zhuzhu trembled under the pressure of these powerful spiritual consciousnesses. Ningcheng estimated that even if the few of them just moved in today and disappeared from this place the next day, no one would come to ask about it. Arriving at this place, Ningcheng finally felt another difference between the Middle District and the North District. That is, in the North District, there were only a few patrolling guards, while in the Middle District, there were patrolling guards everywhere. If the North District was like this, then the West District would be even more chaotic. Maybe there were no patrolling guards at all. Ningcheng did not show even half a shred of politeness, as his powerful spiritual consciousness and killing intent instantly blasted out. The few spiritual consciousnesses that were lingering around him were immediately suppressed by him. A cultivator in the sea-opening realm was also affected by this powerful imposing manner, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood on the spot. This scared the cultivator so much that he no longer dared to sweep out with his spiritual consciousness. The several crucible transformation cultivators who were using their spiritual consciousnesses to investigate also understood that this newly arrived sea-opening realm cultivator was not a simple character. After these malicious spiritual consciousnesses were blasted away by Ningcheng, Yi Zhuzhu finally calmed down. Ningcheng did not have any intention of finding trouble with these people. Living in this place, they were constantly struggling between life and death. Wanting these cultivators to abide by any rules was simply nonsense. In this place, there was only one sentence: if you have the ability, then live, if you don't, then die. The law of the jungle, where the strong preyed on the weak, was vividly reflected in this place. After the Ningcheng trio entered the courtyard house, they felt somewhat satisfied. This courtyard house had 4 rooms, with a spiritual medicine garden and a light gathering array formation in the middle. The rootless Black City did not have any sunlight, all the light came in through the array formation. Even the sun above the rootless Black City was a result of the array formation. However, the materials needed to be provided by everyone living in the rootless Black City. Although Ning Cheng had purchased an immortal cave in the North District, the three of them lived in this place, which meant that they had to provide a certain amount of black coins every day. Except for some of the cultivators in the West District who had to provide slightly less black coins, the other 4 districts provided the same amount of black coins. It was definitely not the Central District, Eastern District, and Southern District that had better living conditions and better security, which meant that they had to pay more black coins. Ning Cheng let Luofei and Yi Zhuzhu find a place to rest, while he first removed all the array formations outside the courtyard house. Some of the peeping spiritual consciousnesses on seeing Ning Cheng remove all the restrictions around the immortal cave immediately felt shocked. To survive in this place, the immortal cave's array formation restrictions were the most important thing. If it was an immortal cave without any array formation restrictions, even if it was given to others, no one would dare to live in it. Moreover, if one wanted to hire an array formation Grand Master to rearrange one's immortal cave, it would require a lot of black coins. Unless one was a fool, no one would remove the defensive array formations around their own residence. However, these people quickly understood what was going on. It turned out that this person was an array formation Grand Master. The courtyard house's immortal cave was quickly covered by an array formation. Moreover, this array formation was definitely a rank 6 array formation. Seeing that Ning Cheng was an array formation Grand Master capable of arranging a rank 6 array formation, the peeping spiritual consciousnesses instantly disappeared without a trace. If not for a deep hatred, no one would be stupid enough to find trouble with a rank 6 array formation Grand Master. Knowing that Ning Cheng was a rank 6 array formation Grand Master, the cultivators immediately despised Ning Cheng in their hearts. Since he was a rank 6 array formation Grand Master, why did he still want to live in this place? Ning Cheng, of course, was not a rank 6 array formation Grand Master, rather, he was a rank 8 array formation Grand Master. The materials in his hands were more than enough for him to arrange 1 or 2 rank 8 array formations, however, he did not arrange the rank 8 array formations outside. Instead, he quietly arranged a rank 7 concealed killing array and a rank 7 defensive array inside the rank 6 defensive array. Then he arranged a rank 8 concealed killing array around the 3 people's residence. Finally, he connected these array formations to form a serial killing array. With Ning Cheng's means, even if a plundering life realm cultivator came here, they would not be able to escape. After arranging all these array formations, Ning Cheng finally arranged a spiritual gathering array. Luofei, you and Zhuzhu can cultivate first. I'll go to the trade union to find any news about Rulan and the others. Ning Cheng handed over the control array flags to Luofei and Yi Zhuzhu. With the array formations in this place, even if a plundering life realm cultivator came, Luofei would be able to stop them. What's more, he would not go far. You go, nothing will happen here. Ji Luofei knew that if she did not find any news about Rulan soon, Ning Cheng would continue to worry. Chapter 457. The rootless Black City was filled with restrictions that shielded one's spiritual consciousness. As such, wanting to use one's spiritual consciousness to find Ning Rulan was simply impossible. If he wanted to check if Rulan had come to the rootless Black City, then the best place to do so was the trade union of the rootless Black City. The bottom floor of the rootless Black City's trade union was for the rentals and sales of immortal caves, while the second floor was for information on various team quests or information about treasures appearing in the void. The third floor was the place for certification of various professions, such as alchemist, blacksmith, talisman refiner. The fourth floor contained some information queries, which Ning Cheng had obtained from the mouths of others. Excuse me, senior, is there anything I can help you with? Ning Cheng had just walked to the entrance of the fourth floor when a young female cultivator took the initiative to greet him. This female cultivator only had the cultivation of profound core realm. Ning Cheng guessed that she should have been born in the rootless Black City, or else someone else had brought her here. I want to check on the people who came to the rootless Black City in the past few years. Can you check it here? If you can't find it, then where do you need to find it? Ning Cheng asked in a very polite manner. You can check it here, but the cost of the inquiry is 100,000 black coins. The young female cultivator replied with a smile. Ning Qing gave out a dark sigh in his heart. This was just too much. Just checking the information required 100,000 black coins. Although he knew that the price was too much, Ning Qing still took out 100,000 black coins. This female cultivator felt pleasantly surprised as she took the black coin from Ning Qing. There were many people who wanted to find information from her. Many of the cultivators who came to this place wanted to find out if any of their acquaintances who had passed through Heaven's Way had come to the rootless Black City. However, there were not many people willing to pay 100,000 black coins. Most of the cultivators, after hearing the price, immediately dispelled the idea. 100,000 black coins could be used for a lot of things in the rootless Black City. Do not look at the 50,000 black coins needed to travel from the receiving Heaven's Stone to the rootless Black City. This was entirely due to the receiving Heaven's Stone and the other forces earning spirit stones from the newcomers. Once these newcomers came to the rootless Black City, they would always be careful with their spending and would rarely squander like Ning Qing. Ning Qing, who did not hesitate to take out 100,000 black coins to check some information, such a situation was not common. Finally receiving a local tycoon like Ning Qing, this young female cultivator turned even more enthusiastic. Ning Qing quickly found the cultivators from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect who came to the rootless Black City 6 years ago. There were a total of 8 people, including Ning Ruolin and Meng Jingxiu. When Ning Qing saw the message, he immediately felt relieved. Among the cultivators who came to the rootless Black City from the Tian continent 6 years ago, some of them had already left the rootless Black City 2 years ago. At least from Ning Ruolin's information, Ning Qing could see that 2 years ago, Ning Ruolin and the others had left with 2 plundering life realm cultivators. These 2 plundering life realm cultivators were Rui Baishan and Meng Jingxiu. For Rui Baishan and Meng Jingxiu to advance to the plundering life realm, Ning Qing felt that it was quite normal. Rui Baishan's cultivation should have been above the crucible transformation realm, however, due to the limitations of the Tian continent's heaven and earth laws, he was unable to advance. Since Meng Jingxiu had obtained the immortal mansion, even if her qualifications were poor, her cultivation should still be the fastest among the few of them. What made Ning Qing puzzled was that he could not find any information about Su Anjun. Logically speaking, an expert like Su Anjun would definitely not get into trouble in Heaven's Road. Unless this woman changed her name and registered here under a different name. After coming down from the 4th floor, Ning Qing felt a lot more comfortable in his heart. At least he knew that Ruolan was safe. When Ning Qing arrived at the 2nd floor, he casually glanced around and found that more than 90% of the cultivators who teamed up here were looking for black essence stones in the void. Ning Qing did not intend to go out to look for a black essence stone mine right now, however, he intended to look for information about the black essence stones first. He did not want to go out to look for a black essence stone mine, at least not for now. If he wanted to destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce, then he must find a way out. Since you know that you don't have enough black essence stones, why are you not willing to take the risk? How will you gain a foothold in the rootless Black City in the future? Besides, the people going out this time are not just the 2 of us, there are at least 50 people. What do you have to worry about? 2 cultivators whispering about searching for black essence stones in the void reached Ning Cheng's ears, causing Ning Cheng's heart to immediately move. That's right, he knew that once he provoked the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce in the rootless Black City, it would definitely not be a trivial matter. As long as such a thing happened, he, Ji Luofei and Yi Zhu would definitely not be able to stay in the rootless Black City. They might not even be able to walk out of the rootless Black City. So why would he take the initiative to provoke the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce? He had to destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce, however, he could just wait for others to come looking for him. With the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's character, he had already raised the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's rest stop at the receiving Heaven's Stone. Once the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's association head came back with a group of experts, how could he not take the initiative to find trouble with him? As long as the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's people took the initiative to go to his place to find trouble with him, then everything would be easy to handle. With his attainments in array formations, coupled with the powerful array formations arranged in his residence, even if 10 Crucible Transformation cultivators plus 1 or 2 Plundering Life Realm cultivators went there, it would not be enough. What worried Ningqing the most was that he did not know when the people from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce would return. What if they did not return after half a year? Ningqing did not think of himself as a gentleman. Therefore, he wanted to take revenge as soon as possible. The Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce and the Rootless Black City's junior city master had forced Yan Ji into the void. Now that her life or death was unknown, why would he be willing to wait? At this time, another cultivator replied, but that place is too far away. Moreover, many of the people who went there have yet to return. The cultivator who tried to persuade him spoke with some disdain. That place was found by Junior City Master, and our team was also arranged by Junior City Master. The last time Junior City Master left the Rootless Black City, it took him half a year to return. I estimate that this time, he would only stay in the Rootless Black City for a few days before setting off again. Otherwise, he would not have announced that he would form a team before entering the city. When Ningqing heard this, his heart moved and he quickly asked, "Two friends, I just heard you talking about forming a team. Did Junior City Master come back?" "Of course. You can take a look at the team information on the third array formation display." Junior City Master Su and the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's Association head Pu have both gone out for half a year. This time, they came back because they found a large black essence stone mine. The cultivator glanced at Ningqing and found that Ningqing was a late-stage sea opening realm cultivator. As such, he did not speak in a polite manner. Ningqing looked up and saw the huge words on the third array formation display. Not only was Junior City Master Su Liangji looking for people to form a team, but even the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's Association head Pu Leng was also looking for people to form a team. According to it, they had found a huge black essence stone mine in the void. Only a lot of cultivators would be able to dig out these black essence stones. All the cultivators who signed up to form a team could take away 50% of the black essence stones they dug out, while the other 50% had to be given to the person who initiated the team. The information on the array formation display indicated that Pu Leng and Su Liangji had not yet entered the Rootless Black City when they issued the team announcement. Junior City Master has just entered the city. Since there are so many people in the team, I guess that Junior City Master will come directly to the trade union. A cultivator looked at the communications pearl in his hand and spoke up from the side. Hearing this, several other cultivators who were still hesitating immediately said that they wanted to sign up and participate in this team. Ningqing felt shocked and immediately sped up to leave the trade union. Junior City Master Su Liangji had returned, and the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's Association head Pu Leng had also returned. With Pu Leng's ability, he should have already known about the matter of him destroying the Receiving Heaven's Stone and the Silver Thunder Rest Stop. Since the other party knew about this matter and still wanted to form a team, it showed that the other party did not take him seriously at all. In other words, the first thing Pu Leng would do after returning to the Rootless Black City was not to go to the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's headquarters, but to go to his residence and kill him. Because the other party thought that it would be easy to kill him, he still wanted to form a team to head out. Thinking of this, Ningqing sped up even more. In just half an hour, Ningqing once again returned to his residence. Ji Luofei did not cultivate, apparently, she was waiting for him. Yi Zhuzhu also did not cultivate. How is Rulan? As soon as Ningqing returned, Ji Luofei eagerly asked. Rulan is fine. I just received the news that the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's Association Master, Pu Leng, has returned. I raised the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's rest stop at the Receiving Heaven's Stone. I'm sure that after the Association Master returns, he will definitely come to us. Ningqing explained. Ji Luofei did not feel anything. Since Ningqing said so and did not intend to escape, it showed that Ningqing had his own means. After Yi Zhuzhu heard Ning Cheng's words, her face turned pale and her body trembled. The Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce had not only injured her body and soul, but it had also left a terrible scar in the depths of her soul that was difficult to erase. When Ning Cheng spoke about this place, Yi Zhuzhu's heart immediately filled with panic. "Zhuzhu, don't be afraid. This is my territory. I guarantee that he will not be able to return." Ning Cheng gently caressed Yi Zhuzhu's head and comforted her in a soft voice. Initially, he was wondering when the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's association master and some of the experts would return. He did not expect that they would return so soon. Since the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce's experts had returned, it made things much easier. If he stayed in his place and did not leave, then the people from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce would definitely take the initiative to attack him. As long as the people from the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce took the initiative to attack him, he could easily kill these people and then kill them back. Once he had enough reason, even the rootless Black City's city master would not dare to do anything to him. His courtyard was filled with array formations. As such, he was not afraid of anyone who came here. What's more, as long as he occupied the main reason, even the rootless Black City's city master would not dare to do anything to him, unless the other party truly had the ability to erase him at any time. "Luofei, I will first lead those people into our array formations. When we start, I will hold these people back. You can directly activate the killing array to help. I will also arrange another killing array." Ning Cheng had just dropped a few array flags when several powerful spiritual consciousnesses swept over. Ning Cheng estimated that 2 of these spiritual consciousnesses definitely surpassed his own. Ning Cheng was very clear about the strength of his spiritual consciousness. Even a Crucible Transformation 9th level cultivator might not be able to surpass his spiritual consciousness. Now that 2 cultivators with spiritual consciousnesses surpassed his own, Ning Cheng did not need to ask to know that these 2 were definitely in the plundering life realm. Moreover, one of them was most likely Pu Leng. "Luofei, they're here. Get ready to close the door and beat the dogs." Although the opposite party had 2 plundering life realm cultivators, Ning Cheng did not feel any fear. As long as he could kill all the people who entered this place, he could then openly destroy the Silver Thunder Chamber of Commerce. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.